Yeah, boom, boom, boom.
All right, guys, we're gonna get it going a little early. Make sure everything's working.
Eugene's. We've had some
Technical difficulties. I hope we don't. Haven't spoken too soon.
Yeah, we've had some technical difficulties in the past with the podcast where Eugene will he'll get it going and it's like it's not working. It's working, Eugene.
It is.
Yeah, we're here.
This is awesome.
Yeah, we're here.
I'm
we're
really
live.
excited.
And I imagine, guys, it'll be
Hold on.
It'll be a little bit on the small side, I imagine, just
That's
because. And we're off to a good start. It'll be a little bit smaller than usual because we're on the Jiu-Jitsu podcast.
But we're rolling,
and
we're
it's
doing
cold
the thing.
outside.
It is.
Just saying.
That has nothing to do with it. We're talking to people.
Yeah. So we'll do a little Q&A later. A little Q&A action. But Chewy?
Well, we're just going to hang out for a second. We got 2 minutes because I told everybody 6.
You did, but I wanted to make sure everything worked.
I know. So we're going to hang out for a minute, and then we'll start with the formalities in just a second because we said 6. So I don't want people to come in at 6 and be like, wait a second. These guys lied to me. They started early.
Oh, look at you are such a good person.
I mean, think about jiu-jitsu people in general. They're not exactly the most punctual people for the things most of the time.
Yeah.
Like it's a pain in the butt just getting you guys to the gym on time. Like the white belts show up on time like all the time, but all my brown belts and black belts, they like waltz in sort of, whenever they get there.
For promoting us.
I think the only one that shows up on time is probably Babone.
I show up on time.
Huh?
What you talking?
What you talking about? Chewy? Trey, we're drinking Buffalo Trace.
Buffalo Trace.
Whose is this?
I purchased it for
me.
For the inaugural first guest.
Purchased it.
I used my money. Trey Scholl, what's up, my brother? I like that guy.
So as you guys jump in, it'll be a little bit smaller today because we're on the new channel. But as you guys jump in, let us know who you are. I can see who you are from your name on it, but let us know where you're coming from, and then we'll get rolling here in just a second. Burger, evening Chew, evening Burger.
Burger, it's a great name.
Boyga,
What?
it's a Boyga. I'm not going to do what I did last time Adam was on the podcast.
What did you do last time?
I got like a little drunk.
Yeah.
I got buzzed.
I got a buzz.
I was disappointed in myself because we weren't even trying that hard.
We weren't, but we were upstairs, and it was like combined with the heat and
It
stuff
got
like
hot,
that.
yeah.
Because I remember Jess was like, she goes, "You were buzzed." I was like, "Was I?" She's like, "Yeah," because she can tell by the way I speak. I was just like rattling off stuff.
That's funny. Yeah. Okay. I'm good.
I'm not seeing the comments here. Hold on. Am I doing something
Pull up your
wrong?
comments.
I'm not.
They're up there.
From Iceland. Let's see here. Some months away from my blue belt. Guess you want to know that. Hey, man, that's awesome.
There we go.
Yeah. Boyga is from Iceland.
We got 6?
Iceland's one of the places I want to go to. That's like it's just like it's been one of the places on the bucket list.
Yeah.
I know a guy. I was actually trying to set up a seminar there because there's a brown belt that I know there who was going to try to set it up. I think he lives outside of Reykjavik, and I was going to try to do it there, but just didn't work out.
Is that a big? How big is Jiu-Jitsu in Iceland?
I
Is
don't
that
know.
Kind of.
I mean, it's
Only
there.
one way to find out.
Yeah,
You
go there and
gotta
see,
go, yeah.
right?
I hear it's green, and Greenland is icy.
Yeah.
That is. I think my
Everyone
brother's
always
been to
says
Iceland actually.
What's that?
My brother's been. He's a fan. He said it was really nice, really pretty. I think he went took a cruise or something down there. It's interesting.
I'd do that.
So
I want to go on an Alaskan cruise. I hear they're nice.
An Alaskan cruise.
Alaskan
Yeah.
cruise.
Huh.
By the glaciers out that way.
Mm.
Really romantic. Eugene,
yes.
you want to go with me
Where?
on an Alaskan cruise?
Sure.
Yeah, I'll go with you.
I'm sure wife would get angry.
Why? Me and Adam used to sleep in the same bed.
We did.
Oh,
Spring break.
Well, yeah, I've done that before.
Spring
Yeah.
break, dude.
Did you guys sleep like head to toe, or did you sleep?
No,
we
this-
spooned.
I wanted to say nut to butt, but
Yeah. Big spoon, little spoon.
I remember like being at tournaments and like Justin one time we were in California, we were in the same bed, and I put a pillow between us because he kept rolling over towards me.
He was cold.
Yeah. So I put a pillow in between us. I was like, you can keep your little self over there.
Over.
little Justin, he's a snuggler, isn't he?
He is. He wanted. He was trying to fight for wrist control
He
to
was.
sleep.
Yeah.
Try to slide in the choke.
Dude, you gotta do that shit in your sleep, probably.
Man, I remember there was a person that was trying to set up like this cruise for Jiu-Jitsu.
I remember that.
You remember that?
That
Yeah.
never happened.
No. And I remember when they were trying to set it up, like it was this, going to be this Caribbean cruise, whatever. And I remember like talking to the person, And I said, listen, I need to have a like free ticket for like my woman.
Yeah.
I was like, she's coming. I was like, because there's no way I'm going to be on a Caribbean cruise without my woman, because that's just not going to happen, right? Like, I mean, it's just, I want to come home to I want to have a home to come to.
Yeah.
Right.
You know, when I come back, I don't want to be sleeping on the couch for 3 months. You know, so did you enjoy that cruise? Yeah, get your ass on the couch. But and I remember she like was like really funny. She threw a fit about it. And I was like, at that point, that's when I knew this whole thing wasn't going to work. I told the other guys, I'm like, guys, I'm out of this.
Yeah.
Now, did it happen at all, or
no?
No. Okay.
No.
Not just you didn't go.
No,
It just didn't.
no.
Come
The
to
thing was, it was
fruition.
just,
Okay.
it was a debacle. I remember I asked for like an itemized list, and they were like,
Itemized list.
yeah, but like, what are all the expenses? You know, because cruises are generally kind of cheap, you know, in relation to other vacations, right? They're usually kind of like the thing where you kind of lump it all together, and it's kind of a little bit less it's a little bit more inexpensive than, say, like if you were to rent a place and get all, you know, do all the other stuff. And it was really expensive. Like, where's all this cost coming from?
Yeah.
And there was like a quote administration fee. You know, like,
What does that mean?
Means she's trying to hit that home run.
Yeah.
So, you know, like just trying to hit that home run on everybody.
I got you.
Yeah. So let's see here. We got Abelardo Rodriguez. Love the podcast. I'm glad to be a part of the BJJ community representing Citadel BJJ in Iowa City, Iowa. Citadel, is that
Citadel BJJ.
who's your I'm probably saying your name, Abelardo or Abelardo? Who's your coach out there in Citadel? The name sounds familiar. But do we got anything to mention first before we get started?
No, I mean, just we can thank our sponsors, obviously.
All right.
Charlotte's Web.
Charles Web CBD. Actually, we got a cool thing from one of our Patreons, and he was saying that he doesn't get as much sleep as he would like, but he said the CBD does seem to help. So that's awesome. Big thanks to Matt at Epic Roll. If you want to, there we go. If you want to check out his gear at epicrollbjj.com, he's got some cool stuff. I'm always so like upset that I can't wear hats.
Chewy's got a
You look good
long
in every hat.
forehead.
No, they don't. Look.
You look good in every hat.
Check it out. He does this every time.
My ears are too low.
He's got a really long head.
I got a big.
Then he needs an Epic Roll top hat. Matt, where you at? You can make this
We
happen.
talked
You
about
said
this.
top
I
hat.
did. We have
Yes.
similar humor.
I'm not wearing a damn top hat.
Yeah.
Oh, it'll look good.
You look
Hello,
good, son.
governor.
Yeah.
Thank you for coming to my jiu-jitsu
If I
place.
show up with one, you're gonna wear it.
Yeah. Matt's out there with Rob from McDojo.
I saw that. What are they doing?
Stuff. They're filming stuff. They're with Mike Beltran, the
Okay.
referee with the cool.
Yeah.
Cool facial hair.
I saw the pictures. Yeah, I wasn't sure what they were up to.
And then somebody needs to turn the volume down a little bit on their phones.
Not mine. Is it mine?
I don't know.
Mine's down.
There you go. Adam the culprit.
I don't think so.
So so that, and then Manscaped. Talk about Manscaped.
Manscaped. So again, you know, I didn't know that like men's grooming stuff was like such a big thing.
It is.
Apparently it is.
Who is pushing that? Is it men? Are men doing it out of their own accord, or is it like,
Yes.
are we being pressured
No.
to look a certain way?
Well, hold on. So, of course, we're being pressured to look a certain way. I mean, like, we come out with his hair, and for some reason, we're like, you know what, we need to trim this crap off, right? I mean, that's obviously societal pushing, whatever. But, I mean, that said, it just, what are you going to do, right? So, like, you know, like, for instance, like, Jess, you know, like, if I was to let all this grow, I would have, like, just a full hair, but, like, covering.
You're pretty bushy.
Yeah, dude, like I'll get like tufts of fur on my back, and I've got a full chest, and it'll come up, and I would, it would be.
Does
from,
it connect to your beard?
It would, yeah.
That's glorious.
And
Do
I
it.
would grow a unibrow.
Many dream.
I would be
of
like
that kind of.
I would
facial
look like
and chest.
Teen Wolf.
Yeah.
You know,
They're not teenagers.
you know, so Jess is adamant that I get sheared, so she shears me.
Shears.
Yeah.
It's like a sheep.
Yeah, that's what I say. It's like I was like, baby, can you come here and shear me? And she's like,
Yeah.
but
Yeah,
Start making Jiu-Jitsu pillows out of your old.
Oh, of your
Clippings.
hair. You
Sounds
should sell your hair
disgusting.
on the internet.
oh, that sounds disgusting.
Somebody
Nobody's
might buy it.
So
You think somebody will buy your hair?
how much do you think they'd pay?
I don't know. Let's have.
There's a market for.
Hey
anything.
guys, go ahead and see how much.
We'll
get a bidding war going
We'll
on.
start the auction for the Jiu-Jitsus here. It's starting off at a nickel.
What if we paid you to shave your beard? Would you do it?
I don't have to pay me to shave my beard. I just don't want to.
Yeah. I know exactly. That's the whole point.
It would
Like
be
you don't want to.
distracting,
So
don't
I
do
just
it.
kind of like it.
yeah, don't. Like Damon did that. I didn't know who. I was like, who am I looking at?
Well, I mean, I don't have a like Damon. Like the beard really adds something. Like when he shaves off, whatever. I just look younger.
Damon didn't.
Damon looks
wrong.
way different without his
Yeah.
beard.
You know who else does is Big Rich. He posted a picture of because
Yeah,
he got
yeah.
promoted last night,
yeah.
and he posted a picture of his white belt tournament versus now, and I was like, "Is that which one's Rich?"
Yeah. But anyway, going back to the Manscaped stuff. If you guys want to check out some of their products, they have some good manscaping products that you can use. We've got the Perfect Package 3.0, which comes with all this different stuff along with their trimmer, what they call the lawnmower. And I've used that sucker to trim basically from a beard to my butt. Beard to my balls.
should
Triple
probably-
B.
you should
I haven't
probably
trimmed.
switch
I
the
haven't trimmed. I
guard.
don't have butt hair, but
Oh, wait,
my
wait.
trim.
Oh.
My trim.
This just happened.
Do you start up top and work your way down, or do you just like bring it all the way?
No.
up?
Well, what happened was I got the trimmer and it's specifically
Walk us through it.
it was
You
specifically.
should vlog this.
Well, here's what it was. It specifically was
This is a vlogging.
it was a ball trimmer. That's what its title. I was like, well, I don't like, I've got that stuff, so I'm like, well, let me see if I can give it like multi-purpose. I can use it for stuff. So I was like, let me try my beard, and because at first I was like, I don't want to talk about like a ball trimmer on the podcast. So I started trimming my beard. I was like, it actually kind of works. And then Jess used it, and she liked it better than because I've got like a big set of trimmers, and she likes it because it's a little bit like it doesn't cut the skin at all, so you don't have to be as like careful. So she can just get in there and trim it. So she trimmed my back with it. And then I eventually went to the downstairs. And it's got this little light, which at first the light was bothering me because it's so bright. Like it's such a bright little light.
Do you have
But
one of these laying around?
Yeah,
Get it
yeah.
out.
but then like what happens is when you get down there, you see all the little stray hairs, and you're able to like get all the hairs.
Find all the
it's
ones
actually
hiding.
so it's actually a pretty versatile little trimmer that you can use even waterproof. And you can take it on trips if you want to.
Sold.
There we go. So you can check all that stuff out, guys. So
Manscaped.
going back to it, if you want to get any Charlotte's Web, you can go to charlottesweb.com, use the promo code Jiu-Jitsu. If you want to go to Epic Roll, you can go to epicrollbjj.com, use the promo code Jiu-Jitsu. Or if you want to get some of the stuff I talked about with Manscaped, you can go to manscaped.com, use the promo code Jiu-Jitsu20, and you'll save 20%, and you'll get free shipping.
Boom. Somebody talked about maybe you sell something about just put some hair with every shirt purchase. So
Boy, a little package.
That
great
sounds
idea.
bad.
A little package of hair.
That sounds terrible. Like someone's going to commit a crime and like, we found your beard hair here.
Oh my god.
Planting evidence.
Yeah, right?
In a neat little packet, no less.
Yeah.
Just laying on a dead body.
Someone's like, I'm gonna get a big influx of shirt orders, and then like all of a sudden it's like my friggin' like we found half of your back hair in Ontario, Canada. What's going on here?
Could we weave that into the blend of the shirt?
Ooh, it'll keep you extra warm.
Oh man.
So yeah, guys. So today, here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna talk with Adam today. Have him on the podcast. He's our very first, our inaugural guest here in the actual studio, the first one we've had, and more to come. And last night, Adam got promoted his first stripe on his black belt, and Eugene got promoted to black belt finally. And we're just gonna hang out and chat for a little bit. And at the end, we will do a little bit of Q&A if you guys have some questions. And we'll start before we get into it. Someone was asking. Oh, by the way, Abelardo, Matthew Layton. That dude's he's super tough. I've watched him compete a couple times. You guys were asking, how do you drink bourbon? I drink it with a little ice.
I got a lice of mine.
He drinks it straight.
No, you're straight. You're straight. I'm neat.
Neat. Oh, okay.
Sorry.
Fair enough.
Well, that's a bourbon connoisseur right there.
That's called. I'm a casual.
Yeah, like I had to call Adam. I was like, Adam, what kind of bourbon should we get? Just to commemorate this occasion. And he's like, get Buffalo Trace. Like anything specific? I didn't know. I would have got probably. I don't know. I'm the one that went to the bourbon tasting. I like the clear shit. It wasn't even bourbon. It's not even,
You were drinking the moonshine.
Is that what it was?
It was like basically almost
tasty.
vodka.
Is that what you gravitated toward? The clear stuff?
Maybe. I feel like
That was fun. We should do that again.
Can we do that? Is that legal?
I went back to
ever?
that place like 6 times
Did
after
you?
you showed it to me.
Okay,
Yeah,
well,
like,
good.
For the tasting.
Just
like,
by yourself?
Yeah, Destiny, my wife, she took me a couple times for like birthdays and
Oh,
stuff
really?
like that. Yeah,
Cool.
I loved it.
Well, see, I did that, and I was like, I wasn't sure like how it went over. So
It was just fun to
Let's
have
fun.
everybody
Let's
together in like a
go.
different environment too.
yeah.
It doesn't have to be like a thing. We could like just get some dudes like us and then put on.
Well, what was funny about that was I still remember this. So like for you guys listening, about it was 4 years ago, we I've got all the like the purple belts, brown belts, and black belts that were helping coach on some capacity, and I got them together and we went and did this. I paid for this bourbon tasting, so basically had food ordered from
Food
this.
was good too.
It was from that little tapas place, so I had some tapas food ordered, and then we ordered the bourbon tasting. And so basically, the woman like picked out a bunch of different bourbons for us to try, and we all kind of hung out there and tried the bourbons. Basically, got lit up a little bit, and then we started talking about jiu-jitsu and everything else, and kind of had like a little sentimental guy powwow thing. And I remember it was so funny because the woman sat back and because she's just kind of hanging out, and she was just like, "What do you guys do?" She's like, "I don't know what it is, but I feel like I should be doing it, right?" Because it's like
so much passion in this room,
right? And it's so weird how that works, right? Like because the way the way they change, right? So like the bonds that are created, the memories that are created, and all that stuff. But when you look at what we do on a day-to-day basis, it's not all that exciting. But then you think about what's happening over the long term, and then what that looks like. It's like then it's this big thing, like where we're talking about all these memories together and the closeness and everything else. I mean, it's kind of similar to pretty much anything, right? Like if, like for instance, if you go and lift weights. Lifting weights is relatively boring for most people. I mean, it's fun. It's enjoyable to do. It's incredibly boring to watch, right? No one wants to hear. I'm just watching this guy lift weights. But
it's a little.
But if you think about that, like long term, each one of those days where you're lifting weights contributes to something long term. It's a big deal. You'll be a completely different person. Yeah. And I think that was kind of what happens. There's all these sort of seemingly by themselves insignificant training sessions. They're just like little drops. Right, and that's the term that I use all the time for training. Is like it's a little drop in a bucket. So if you keep one drop after one drop, eventually that builds up until the damn thing's overflowing. But by themselves they're insignificant. But it was kind of neat to just see that we're all like passionate about this thing. And if I was to show the woman what we did, it would just kind of be, oh, that's what you do. Why are you guys so excited about this? Why are you guys so like buddy about this? But yeah, we can do that again.
It's kind of like one of our favorite things is like yesterday we had, tough training, we had some promotions, and then we just hung out and like talked for probably like 45 minutes to an hour. And we were just doing it.
Well,
it
was
talking.
It was so cool to have everybody back.
Yeah, it was great. It was great to hug people again and that you miss.
Yeah. Well, especially like, cause some of those guys that were there, I mean, like some of you guys, I mean, some of all of us have not seen, like we haven't had some of those guys in there together for a year. For almost a year now.
I hadn't seen you in probably a year.
Dukes, Bone. I mean, I've seen Bone a couple of times here and there, but like,
I ran into him a couple, I went to the morning class.
Yeah, I came to the 6 a.m.s and stuff like that. But yeah, I mean, it's like you haven't seen all these guys together in one place for like over a year, almost a year.
That kind of beating because I mean, rolling with no offense to like the white belts or anything, but it's like a mixed bag of belt levels and the regulated classes we were doing, but to have like a whole mat full of brown belts and black belts, and then what we rolled for like an hour.
Yeah, we had
good lord,
we had two flow roll warm ups for 4 minutes, and then it was like
30.
It was I want to say it was either like we had like 9 or maybe 10 rounds or something like that. So it was a lot because I remember I was like, I sat out and watched 2 rounds. I was like having you guys like, you go with him and let me see you off your back and all that kind of stuff.
It didn't go well.
Yeah. And then afterwards I like jumped in and I rolled with everyone that I was like, thinking about promoting or just wanted to fill out. And it was actually really helpful because like, I just tried the idea out because I was curious. I was like, because I wanted to figure out some way to like start to structure promotions and make them to where they're a little bit more predictable for the people involved, but also helpful for me. So this way I can give direction to people because people want direction. And it's like, it's hard for me to say, hey, here's what you need to work on if I'm watching you roll with like a white belt, because it's not a good litmus test to how good your game is. But then when I'm watching everybody roll with like apples and apples, everybody's kind of around the same skill level, I can sit back and go, oh, like you need to work on your guard or you need to work on your submission and offense. You need to, it's much easier for me to look at it and see what they need to work on. And then I was able to roll around with people and sort of get a feel for what their game feels like right then. And then I'm like, okay, that's it. And this way I could actually dish out some useful advice and give people direction. Cause like you guys are brown belts and black belts, like, it's if I give you a direction, I can give you tweaks and even help you out a little bit. But for the most part, you guys are at the point where you're like, okay, like that's what I need to work on, and then you'll start to dive into that area. And obviously, if you have questions about stuff, you'll come around to me. Whereas like a white belt, you got to spoon feed them a little bit more. Whereas like you guys are like, hey, you need to cut back on the sweets or something, right? And so you can just stop eating that or something. Right? It's a little bit, you're a little bit more self-sufficient in that manner. You'll need some guidance from time to time, but I don't have to like here comes the airplane, right? Like I don't have to do that. Do you do that with your kids?
I mean, no, but
I could if you want.
If you wanted to do that,
Yeah, it was kind of fun to do that though. I didn't feel like, as far as pressure wise, like you're rolling people of your level, and everybody's so technical and kind of smooth, and you just kind of, and it's good to see what people do really well when you're at those brown black belt levels. You see what you notice, like, hey, this person does this actually really well, and you kind of start picking up on their pressure or on their technique a little bit. But it was fun.
Yes, I'm excited to do those more in the future.
Yeah, I think it was kind of an intimate thing. It was really, not a ton of people, and everybody was there that's already been there for so long. It's just been pushing and pushing, and it was fun. It was a good time, and it was a great way to like welcome everybody back, I think.
Yeah, isn't that funny though? Like I always think about this, perspective, right? You just said it wasn't a ton of people there, like, but I remember, like, we had probably like what, 12 or 14 people there last night, and I remember back in the day, like, that was a big day. Remember, like, when you guys first came to the gym, like 14 people, you were like, whoa,
dude, that was a big class. From the gym we came from, that was like look at all this mat space,
right?
It's huge. And
then but even for me, sometimes like I'll forget, and then just think it's okay. It's like, it's that, but it's all brown belts and black belts. And it's not even all of them. Like, it's not even all of our brown belts and black belts. You still had guys like Tim Huber and Eric Fleener and Michael Roberts, all these other guys that weren't there. Chris Nichols. I mean, there's all kinds of tough dudes that weren't there yesterday. So you just like
that wasn't the full roster.
I know, right? It's the depth of the gym is just it's crazy. So cool.
It's a little scary.
It's awesome.
It's scary.
I love it.
Yeah, it's awesome. It is fun. We're good company.
Do you guys ever like wonder how it's gonna end? Like,
all the time.
I think about this like a lot, like especially as I've gotten older. Like, not like the world or life or anything, but jiu-jitsu, like, because now it's just like just keep on going. You know what I mean? Like, I got my first stripe on my black belt last night. You got promoted, and it's like there's no end in sight.
Right.
Hopefully.
So how does it end?
How does it end? Like, like, do I, God forbid one of us gets hurt, but it's like, you're not going to putter out. You're not going to stop. Like, I think about it all the time. Like, am I going to do it till I'm 80?
Probably.
Like, that'd be cool.
Well, I think if you look at it, like, there's like the old dudes that still are a part of it. Like, so like when we had Robert Drysdale on the podcast for his book. In his book, he's interviewing all these really old dudes that are grandmasters, right? All these old jiu-jitsu guys have been doing it. Like, they're talking about like back, training back in the 60s and 50s and stuff. It's crazy, right? And like one of them was like, they told me I need to get hip surgery, but if I get hip surgery, I can't train anymore. So screw it, I'm not getting hip surgery. I'm like, that's gonna be my old ass when I'm old, right? And I think probably what happens is it's just like anything else, right? Your training changes. So, like, for instance, like weightlifters and bodybuilders and stuff, as they get older, they still lift. They just don't lift like they used to. Right? They might use some machines more. They might do things a little bit easier on their joints or whatever, but they get up and move around a little bit. And there's even the videos of like old jiu-jitsu black belts and red belts and coral belts training. They get in and move around a little bit. They're just, it's just the way they train is not like the 20-year-old who's trying to prove something. They're like, look, we've been there, done that. We're just going to move around a little bit and get a little sweat going and kind of hang out,
Probably maybe even less competitive, but just more, I don't know, more... There's more of such like a, I don't want to say spiritual, but it's kind of like just of I don't know, just something part of your day. It's just something you do. You're so used to doing it, so conditioned to having that experience that it's just kind of like a ritual, I guess, maybe.
Yeah.
In a way, because you're not like, if you catch something, that's fine, but that's not the goal. It's not the purpose. Just to be out there.
The thing that I always worry about is how does it end? Like, does the school fall apart? From like
you've got a whole other set of worries.
Well, no, and I don't mean on a business standpoint. I mean where like it's one of the things that like I hate even thinking about, where people like I've seen this happen in multiple gyms where people like for some reason get rubbed the wrong way and they'll say, screw this guy, I'm gonna leave, and like try to like take some people with me, and it's unfortunate. So like that's why like one of the reasons why I want to get another side open, just to try to like help everybody out, you know what I mean? But because like I don't want people to be like, screw these guys or something. I don't know. You know, because that was always my thing. Because you see that happen, and it's always terrible to see where you see the gym. Like, I mean, for instance, I've seen gyms like where I've gone to gyms like years ago where everybody's training, and then you go back, you know, a couple years later, and then that gym that was like a powerhouse is split, and there's like 4 different spinoffs, and they all are just meh. It's like, you know, together you guys had something really special, and then everybody got like they splintered off, and then nobody has nothing. You know what I mean? So it's just one of those things.
I kind of fear, like, so my concern, not really fear, just an idea, I guess, is like that if you split, like we have everybody comes to this gym now. If we get another location, then we may have like, you know, you may have like people like, hey, I love training with this dude, but he's out here, or I love training with this person, and they're at this other
these
part.
East End guys are dicks, like you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I don't want to hang out with them.
So I thought about that, and
Yeah,
my theory on it is that because like I remember talking to someone, and as a history geek, right? Because like for you guys listening,
I like when this happens.
This is good.
For those of you that are listening, our gym is on like one part of town, but we literally have people. We have students that drive an hour or more to get to the gym, an hour or more one way.
I'm in a different county.
Yeah, like so they pass multiple gyms along the way to get 2 hours, right? They endure traffic and everything else to get there. And so one of the things I want to do is I want to open up a gym closer to some people, so this way we can have 2 gyms, you know, just to kind of help out from time to time. And like I said, I don't want to go all out and make it like mega monstrous or whatever, but I just like to have a spot close for people to train with. And but the thing is I never want to do like an East and West Rome, right? Like so Rome got split, and then basically like the Eastern Roman Empire continued on. It's like if you research history, it's the Byzantium, and the Byzantine Empire is what it got called, but it's the Eastern Roman Empire. It kept going until like I think 1453. I think it's when it fell, and then Western fell. It was gone in the 400s. Because it just didn't have the support, and I don't want that. So we talked about if we ever did something like that,
or for a more contemporary analogy, you know, you have Bad Boy and Death Row. That kind of rivalry.
Of course.
Rap. The rap game. Some people might not even know about that because that was like in the 90s.
Wiki. But basically, if we did anything like that, we would have like team training sessions at the headquarters, so to speak. So it's like it wouldn't be like, that's what I'm saying. The gym wouldn't be like the big mega thing or whatever, you know, because it was like it would be kind of just an augmentation of stuff.
Yeah, and it's helpful. You know, it'd be helpful for some people that really can't make the trip, you know, all the time. Because it's a hike. But
well, yeah, and some nights you're like, well, yeah, I could make it if it's going to be close, maybe not, you know, and you kind of punk out, or, you know, maybe I'm going to be 20 minutes late if I leave now, but if it were closer, that would be helpful, so.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, but I don't know.
We don't want to discourage you from doing it. I think it's a great idea, but it's something that, for conversational purposes.
I've thought about it.
Yeah.
I've thought about it.
I do love the way the gym, I kind of like where, I kind of in a way like where it's at. I like that it's kind of this, where the location is. It's not like the most affluent, you know, there's kind of, it's a little rough. It's a little rough around the edges from the outside. And you come in and it's this kind of, it's kind of like this awesome environment. Do you know what I'm saying?
He don't want to break down around there, you know, like
it's
car doesn't start.
I'm training with all these poor people. Right?
No, it ain't poor people.
Is that what you're getting at?
No, hell no.
No. I know.
No, it's just dude, there's like car lots and there's fast food,
liquor stores.
Eugene rolls harder when he knows that his car might be getting broken into in the parking lot.
That's
He's like,
not what
I
I'm
gotta get out there, get this choke off so I can get dressed and go.
You know, it's so funny. I remember like when people like were like first coming to the gym, like when I started coaching, like I didn't really realize it, like I didn't know what people meant by jiu-jitsu politics. Right? Like I didn't know what that meant. I was like, politics and jiu-jitsu? Like, what are you talking about? We're just training. Let's do this stuff. But I remember it was funny because people would come to the gym and they would tell me, oh yeah, like so-and-so said this about you. Like because what would happen is they would train at another gym, and then they would be curious about us. Because I remember even Jess told me, she said she was training at another gym for a little bit, and she's like, oh yeah, they used to talk about you guys like this. And it was like, they would talk about us like we were, they had those rowdy, those South Enders. They're all a bunch of thugs and everything else. This is when you guys were training with me, by the way. Yeah, dude. It was like, I was like,
far from it.
I know. I was like, what are you talking about? I was like, we got people from all over the friggin' county training.
Yeah, you got like doctors and lawyers in there.
Yeah, I was like, you've got everything from construction workers and kids flipping burgers to, like you said, doctors and lawyers all banging it out together.
Yeah,
you know. But it's just funny because we were rowdy. You know, I remember it was
Train hard.
Like just
We
training
train
hard, or yeah, what do you mean?
Yeah,
Right?
we-
Like
yeah.
we didn't like get like we're obnoxious or anything at fights or anything
No.
like that.
No,
Like,
no, no. I mean, we're not like that, but we train hard. You know, I remember we I was I was at a tournament one time, a local one, and I was after some matches and stuff. I remember I was in the bathroom, using the restroom, and I heard these two guys that had gone against some of our guys, and they were like, "Man, what the hell's wrong with those dudes?" They're like, and it was like, yeah, it's like, what do they do down here? Do they do at that gym? Do they just like sit there and hit each other with like wrenches or something? Like, because I think it was because one of them rolled with Corey. Do you guys remember Corey?
Yeah,
With
yeah.
like he'd get the crazy eye and he'd be like sitting there banging his head on the side, like, and he went out there. I think he went against one
Well,
of
that
the
was
guys.
Corey. That's not like
Yeah, I know, but I think he probably just kind of freaked him out a little
Well,
bit.
you should have been asking us like, what happened to these kids' childhoods?
No,
These
yeah,
are crazy.
That's why we're here.
Yeah.
it's just the environment, like inside the gym. It's the environment. It's unique. It's special.
It is, but the thing is, like, I've been to a couple open mats around the way, and I've trained like on vacation, different places, and I've always been very fortunate to encounter some tough dudes. So I guess I haven't really encountered any of these places where, you hear about the softer rolls or some. I was talking to we had a guest the other night, and he was like, yeah, because he was traveling. I think he was with like the DEA or something like that. He was traveling all over the place. He's from Virginia. I don't know.
The Marshal.
Yeah,
He's a Marshal. Yeah.
Okay, yeah, you met him. And he was talking about, like, yeah, some places, like, they may roll twice, and it's mostly just technique, and then they go home. And I've never encountered that, so I'm kind of curious as to what people deal with on a day-to-day basis that aren't in environments like ours.
I've seen some gyms where basically they'll break the technique and the rolling portions like into half, where they'll say, like, look, technique classes here, and you guys can leave if you want to now, or you can stick around for rolling, right? It's kind of like an optional thing.
Is it true that some gyms don't let like white belts roll until like a certain point? Or?
Yeah. So like, I mean, for instance, like, I mean, sometimes I'll restrict someone if they're like really fresh or whatever. Most of them, what we'll do is we'll put them in those beginner classes and we make them do situational.
Yeah.
So it's like, hey, like, just stick to just this position, right? But yeah, there's some gyms where they don't get to roll until like, either they get like their first. Some gyms there's like either like a blue belt or a blue and white belt, and then some gyms it's like they have like like some sort of promotion or whatever that they have to go through that might take anywhere from 6 months to a year.
A year without rolling. Wow.
I mean, I
That's
guess
hard to stick with.
I guess you could look at it one of two ways. You could look at it and say, you know what, you could potentially do it and maybe they wouldn't get injured or something like that. But the other part of it is like, I mean, for me, like I wouldn't have stuck around.
Yeah.
Because I was like,
I mean,
like when the thing that hooked me was like rolling, where I rolled with a dude, and
You got choked.
I got beat by everybody.
Yeah.
I was like, okay, I just got like trumped and trounced by everybody in here in this gym. I need to do this.
there's this whole other power level that you can
Yeah.
that didn't know existed. Like I didn't know this was a thing. Like my first roll I ever had, some guy just reached up, this crawler choked me,
The chokes, yeah.
and I was like, "Show me, teach me more." I was like, I didn't know that was a thing. I didn't know that was. I was on top of the dude in his guard. I was like, oh, he's at a disadvantage. I'm on top, you know. And then he just reached up very slowly. It was BJ, rode up very very slowly and just didn't see it coming. And I was like, what else have you got? Show me something else.
Yeah.
And he showed me how to do it, and then I was trying it on the next guy I rolled with. Didn't work, because it was like my first class. But that's the thing. Like you got to do it to know that you want more.
Yeah.
I don't understand how.
Part of it's like some of these martial arts, it's theoretical. It's like you can't go at that high pace. You can't go that hard. And so it's like this. Okay, so if we're doing these kicks or these punches, you're not doing it as hard as you can. But like you can actually practice. The thing that I think that hooked me, besides getting my ass kicked, was learning like a technique and then being able to implement it and hit it. I was like, oh shit, it works. That was the thing for me. I was like, this is not like theory anymore. It's like actually I was able to put it into play and use it. And that was, to me, I was like, because I did very minimal taekwondo when I was like 6 or 7, right?
I took karate.
That never did, that never did anything, obviously. And you did the same, but it's all theoretical. Like some of these like katas and stuff. I'm not saying there's no value in some of that stuff.
I think you could train it and it'd be useful, but you have to do some form of sparring for it to actually be like legitimate.
Yeah, so some level of sparring has to be done.
If you enjoy the movement and the whole ritualistic,
do your thing.
Whatever, that's fine.
Absolutely.
I get it because I did karate when I was a kid for like 2 or 3 years, and I knew I was like, this is bullshit. Like I'm gonna get my ass kicked. Like I knew I was like my parents was like, we're doing this for you so you have some sort of self defense and some confidence. I was like, no, I just like dressing up in the gi and
kicking
telling
some stuff,
kicking things and telling people. We sparred. I can recall maybe like 2 or 3 times in the years that I was there. And maybe I just wasn't going the right nights. I don't know. But I knew, I was like, if I ever get into a fight, this is not going to work. Because it was all like, get down and like this kind of stuff, But, yeah, like, I mean, whatever. If that's your thing, if you like doing it, fine. But I think, you really need to kind of show some sort of sparring or, some sort of live action.
That's the unique thing about jiu-jitsu. That's what makes it so fun. And it's a great way to get some energy out, too.
Well, I mean, and that's combat sports in general. Like, I mean, for instance, boxing. Like, it just sort of reminds me, did you used to get like, like nervous in your gut, like when you would come to the gym?
Sometimes.
I got nervous yesterday.
Did you?
I was fucking nervous, man. I just like my guts were all like, I was like,
I get it. I go to the bathroom before every class.
Yeah.
I knew it was gonna be a hard session, and I knew it was like, I'm seeing all these people.
Were you nervous about the training or about the promotion?
I didn't know. I was
didn't know what to expect.
I didn't know what I was getting promoted at all. I'm being honest. Like I was like, whatever, it happens.
We could have been kidnapping you. You didn't know.
I just knew I was gonna see people that I hadn't seen in a while. I was excited about that, but I was also really excited about like I knew it was gonna be tough training and it was gonna be a lot of rounds. So I was like, I didn't feel as prepared with the way I've been training, just kind of very limited. I didn't feel like, I was like, shit, that's gonna be rough. I had to mentally prepare. So that was the thing.
Yeah, it's I used to I remember I used to get like my stomach for years would be like nervous, like when I would be going to the gym when I would do jiu-jitsu.
Like how long? Like till like to purple belt? Or?
Purple belt level, yeah. And then around that time I was at Derby City, and then I was like with a whole new group of people to train with, get nervous again. And I remember then I'd start training MMA, and there used to be some tough dudes. Like I remember like when I first came into the gym, they had this guy, Troyer.
Yes.
God,
there's a couple brothers, right?
Yeah, dude. In the older one, like that was when I used to have to spar with, dude. And like if you sparred with him, it was gonna be tough. I remember when I'd go to boxing class, I'd be in boxing training 3 days a week, and I remember boxing with Rando. And dude, like Randy and I, man, it would be
like
knock
you out?
Well, I mean, we both dropped each other multiple times.
Yeah.
What would happen with me and Randy is like Randy was he had that quickness and that length on me, and I would have to like slip. I remember I was talking to someone about this day. I had to learn how to use my head movement. Like I started watching boxers like guys like Floyd Patterson and Joe Frazier and Mike Tyson. All those dudes had like this head bobbing and weaving and stuff, because when I would go in, I would have to get in really close to like hit them. And I remember it was like the first couple rounds of pop, 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 getting hit every time I'd step in. And I remember we would train, and some days it would just be Randy and I. So we would be sparring for 12 to 15 rounds. Oh. And it would just, and I remember you just knew you were coming in for a rough session. And by Friday we'd be training. We're like, hey man, let's take it a little easier today. Like, okay. and we would kind of start off light, and then like the boxing coach he'd go over to the side and be like, man, I got girls that hit harder than that. And he'd start like egging us on. So sure enough, we're a couple young guys. We start like swinging and really landing on each other. And then if we were doing kickboxing sparring, I knew that like I was going to be like limping around for the next 2 days afterwards, because you're going to take some leg kicks. And I always think about that, like why on earth, like, because I remember how nervous I would be, and I couldn't help myself. I wanted to go, but I was so nervous, but I was like, I got to go. And it's so crazy,
It's something difficult. Like I don't know, you just get used to it. There's a little bit of a rush to it, I think, too.
A rush, and
I think you feel like a little adrenaline. You feel kind of, all right, you gotta get yourself revved up. So I think there's something about that as well. Just feeling like you're pumped up, like I don't know, you feel kind of alive a little bit. Mm-hmm. It's not boring.
I used to say that with fighting. Like I remember like fighting, because when you fight, right, before the fight, and you have this to a less intense amount during a MMA or a jiu-jitsu match, time slows down. Because think about the weight. Like when you're waiting, it seems like
it's the worst part.
Dude, it drags, but you're so present. And there's nothing that matters, right? Like you're not worried about the bills you got to pay. You're not worried about this, that, whatever. You're like, I've got to face this other guy in some sort of combat. And I remember fighting was like that too, where like everything, like every little experience that you're going through, because you're just so present, so much more vibrant. Mm-hmm. And you're alive, because like you've got a queasy stomach, you're nervous, like those feelings are still there. And you think about how many things, like as you get older, life becomes so much more routine. Mm-hmm. Think about how few things make you nervous, make you queasy to your stomach, make you like stop and just take notice of what's going on. It's very few things, right? Because everything is, you've seen it before, you've done it before. You know, with this is like, whew, all right, like this is different.
I think that when my kids get old enough to like do some competitive whatever it is, I think I'll feel that way. It sounds bad. You know, I can imagine my dad watching me do jiu-jitsu is probably nerve-wracking for him. I don't know if your parents have seen you a few times too. They ever get nervous for you and stuff? Not really.
I mean, I think I kind of prepared them for like, this is what it looks like. This is what's going to happen, you know. So,
yeah, right.
Yeah.
You get used to I imagine it would probably be like maybe a little bit more intense of a feeling of like, because like when I watch the guys fight, you know, I get nervous for them a little bit, but like at the same time, I'm like, they're big boys. You'll be all right. You know, and so like I've been there before. I know what they're up to. You know,
yeah,
so.
That's a huge advantage. I mean, you kind of know what they're going through. Being able to experience like, hey, I've been there. So you have more validity in what you say. You know, people will trust you because you've been there.
Well, and also like I'm not all that nervous because I know it's a normal experience. So I'm not that worried about it. You know, I'm not worried that like, you know, I know the likelihood of them getting seriously injured from a jiu-jitsu match is pretty low.
Yeah, jiu-jitsu, yeah.
And if something happens, well, hey, you know, we'll figure it out. You know.
Do you have a nervous moment, like really, really nervous moment, maybe competition?
For whom?
Just for you, for yourself.
Nervous?
Yeah.
No, I don't have nerves. I don't get nervous like that anymore. I get excited because
it's a good place to be.
Well, so I came to this realization a few years ago where basically it's like if I compete, if I lose, not a lot changes. You know, it's like you guys still like me, and my girlfriend's not going to leave me. You didn't win the IBGF Atlanta Open. I'm done with you.
Well, to be fair, you haven't lost it, so we don't know. She might leave you. I mean, we can find out.
Well, I lost a match in the Open. But you know, so like, not a whole lot's going to change, right? But if I win, I enjoy it, right? I also think about like, because everybody's got that negative self-talk bull crap that goes on. I was thinking about it. I remember I had this realization. I was like, okay, I'm in the black belt division. I'm getting ready to compete. I'm kind of having that nervous self-talk, and I'm thinking to myself, I'm like, wait a second. I'm thinking about this other guy being super tough, whatever. But I'm like, every time I train at gyms, I don't have any trouble. Like the only time I have the only time I have a really ton of a lot of trouble as far as like rolling in most gyms is like when I roll, like when I bring people in like JT Torres or like Muhammad Ali or something like those are the guys that come in and like just whoop me. Otherwise, like nobody just whoops me. I get beat sometimes, get caught and stuff, but nobody just whoops me. So I'm like, look, I'm a bad dude. You're gonna have to be a bad dude to beat me. You know, so like, and even then, it's gonna be it'll be a scrap. You know, so I just go out there and have fun. And then also when you understand, like when you look at the psychological things of arousal. So basically there really isn't much of a difference between you being nervous before a match and being excited, like being ready to go. And when you look at high level performers and like Olympians and fighters and stuff, they're all nervous, but they look forward to it because it's this thing where it's like when you learn how to use it and go with it instead of trying to resist it and think it's a bad thing, you know, because a lot of times people will want to get rid of it, or they'll think it's bad that they're nervous, or they think that there's something wrong with them, or they're you know, bitching out or something. But really, your body's just getting ready for something, you know. So it's like once you embrace it, just go with it, then it's fun because then you're like, now your body's getting revved up to like go at a higher pace. You're getting ready to like push yourself to a different level of performance that's just not possible when you're just hanging out in the gym.
Right.
You know, so I don't really get nervous like that. I get excited, and there's still those feelings in my stomach, and I still, you know, take the battle craps and all that stuff. But I'm just I'm not nervous in the sense that like, what if this I'm not like that.
I think like for me, it takes reps. Like I gotta get reps in. So like I think tomorrow we're gonna train tomorrow. I'm excited for tomorrow. I'm not really that nervous.
Nasty Nate will be in.
Yeah, I'm excited to see Nate. I'm excited to see, you know, all the brown black belts again and just train. And I'm more excited now because I'm feeling like I'm getting in the swing of things again. So it's not like if you take when I competed, it was so like just infrequent, and it's made it hard. It's like I need to get like it's like you got to get that.
Well,
like,
you're also a heady person.
Yeah, I can't be
because like you know, because everybody, we all know our stuff, right? I mean, you're a guy that's up here, so like you're one of those dudes that'll get that thing stuck, and you can't get it out. You know,
I hate it.
Yeah,
it's the worst.
I mean, just who you are. You know.
Yeah. I try to ruminate, and then you try to. So like if you ruminate on something, what I try to do is like put it in perspective. Like in the grand scheme of things, what does this mean? What does it impact? How does it change anything? What's the worst thing that can happen if the worst scenario is there? And I kind of go from there, and I try to work my way kind of outward just to see like what is it really going to impact for me. Yeah, I'll feel like shit probably, and it'll piss me off, but you know.
And you'll have to compete next week.
I'll have to compete the next weekend. It's a great motivator though. That stuff is like.
It can be if you deal with it right.
It has to be. Otherwise, I have to get it out somehow. So I have to get out and compete or whatever. Go to another class and just kind of right the wrong in my mind, essentially, or just do better, or
No, I get what
you
you're
know.
I mean, no, that's the way I was. I mean, like when I would lose at anything, I'm like, all right, I'm gonna come back tomorrow better.
Yeah,
I'm gonna try to hit it better. You know?
But some stuff I'll accept it. But
So
if
what
I
was,
feel like it
what was
wasn't
the most like rapid fire competition set you've ever done? Like he and I are kind of on the same kind of schedule. You know, it's kind of infrequent. You know, a couple times a year maybe.
like multiple times, like
Yeah, were you just like back to back
like
competitions?
anything like
ever,
Matt
or-
Harrison competing every
Yeah,
weekend.
he's fun to watch, man.
What?
I like watching
So-
Matt. So
Do you think Matt's I don't know. There's people that are better competitors than they are like in the gym almost.
Matt's definitely better.
You think so?
He's definitely
He's-
a better competitor.
I love watching him do that.
don't get us wrong, Matt's good in the gym.
Matt's
too.
great,
Like,
dude.
No, Matt's tough in the gym, but
he's an amazing competitor.
He does some
yeah.
stuff, man. Like I'm like,
Like, where'd you get that? Like,
well, and especially when he competes against guys like because he's an older guy.
Yeah.
When he competes against guys like his
he's
age,
our age, isn't he?
you know, huh?
yeah,
He's our age, isn't
yeah,
he?
well, maybe a little older.
Yeah,
even.
Is he 38, 39?
40.
Is he 40
He's-
really?
I think he's in his 40s.
Yeah.
But like, I mean, the thing that's always impressive about watching Matt in competition is that you can't count him out because like there's been several matches where he's like down. You know, like there was one of his very first competitions with us. He was down.
It was up in India, wasn't it?
Yeah, dude, and he was down like 20 something points. And this wrestler,
Strangled the dude.
I mean, this wrestler was just tossing him all over the place, and he like came out and pulled a triangle out with like 30 seconds left.
Did it really?
Oh my god, dude! I mean, we erupted. And it was so funny too because we were laughing about this. So like Matt, for you guys listening, is one of our black belts now. He's got a great triangle, a fantastic triangle. Like basically, if he rolls and he wins a match, there's like a 95% chance it's a triangle. But I remember there was this one competition where, like, every time he would, like, you know, if he got his guard passed, he would fight to get it back, and whenever he would regain guard, we would start cheering like he had won the match. We'd be like, yes, he got it back, you know, because his guard was so dangerous, you know, and a lot of times he did finish it afterwards, but we would start erupting in cheer for him retaining his guard.
Yeah, Matt is one of those dudes will always have a smile on his face, regardless of the outcome. He's like always like, thank you, always
having
respectful.
fun, man.
It's
awesome.
crazy to me. I love it. I love his attitude. He's got one of the best attitudes, I think. I never seen him get upset.
Dude, Matt, even there was like once where like he was telling me something, and he was telling me about a guy who was kind of an asshole, but he
him?
was still smiling. He was like, I was like, how did it go, man? Man, I don't like to talk bad, but he was kind of an asshole. You know, like he just kind of like, you know, yeah.
It's like if you couldn't hear what he was saying, you'd think that he was saying something really nice.
Yeah. He still looked like he was kind of happy, you know.
Yeah.
But as far as like rapid fire, like, are you asking like when I competed the most, like?
Yeah, like what's the most in a year? Let's say from January to December. Did you ever like do like more than 5?
Yeah, probably. I mean, probably the most I've ever competed was probably on like par, like maybe like 12 or something like that. Like 12
in a year.
Yeah,
Damn,
yeah,
that's a lot.
like sometimes it would average out like once a month, which really isn't that much when you consider it. You know,
I've always
'cause
wondered, like, you know, because there are guys I follow on like Instagram, like
they're competing every week.
Yeah, like there's a Mark Vivas, and he's
competing all the time.
all the time,
All the
like,
time.
all over the world. Like he's like, I'm in Tibet this
Yeah.
week. I'm like, what?
What do you finish like third or something in the world?
So so for me, like back when I was a white belt and blue belt, even purple belt. I mean, hell, all the way up to brown belt, there really weren't competitions like they are now. Like now, there's competitions everywhere. There's a competition almost every weekend. Well, pre-COVID. Right now, I mean, it's getting better. It's starting to pick back up.
Yeah.
But I mean, there was competitions all the time. You know, back then there weren't. I mean, I remember we would drive like 9 hours to North Carolina to hit up a competition because it was the closest one. You know.
IBJJF started coming around like to the East Coast. We're like, holy shit.
I mean, the first IBJJF I did was back in 2010. I did the New York Open.
New York.
You know, and drove up to New York and slept in my car and everything else. Like, you know, just I didn't have a lot of money at the time.
That was your first black belt.
That was a brown belt match.
A brown belt, okay.
Yeah, and so it was just those tournaments really weren't around back then.
How do you compete under those conditions? I mean, you're sleeping in a car. You're not exactly loose, right?
Yeah.
Like
you do what you got. I was in my 20s, so it's like you get away with it, you know. But it's just one of those things where it's a different environment where people are competing so much all the time. I don't mind competing like that, but I don't prefer it. I like having time to just like play. Because when I'm competing, I'm thinking about competing, and I'm thinking about using my game plan and everything else. I like having some time to where, like, when I'm done competing, I want to go play now. Because the way that I train is completely different. Like we were talking about this morning in class. When I'm competing, everybody knows. Like, you know, by the way that I'm rolling that I'm competing. It's just
fun.
Yeah.
It's like, I feel like when I go to those classes, it's like, you know, those crazy people that stay in Florida and they're like, you've got to evacuate. There's a, you know, hurricane coming. It's going to kill everybody. You will die. I'm like, I'm going to stay. Like, that's what I feel like when you're preparing for a tournament. It's friggin' awesome.
Hurricane Chew.
Yeah.
No, but see, like,
and
like,
then you get down in like deep half and you kind of like flick them a little bit just to piss them off. That really gets them going.
you
see if you can hold out.
Well, crikey, it's really gonna piss him
Yes,
off.
jam that
I
thing
thought
in.
you were competing last night. Shit.
Yeah. Well, I was beating the crap out of you guys.
Oh, I was, dude. I was like, there's fucking levels of this.
Yeah, I know. Like, I'm over
there
here
are
like kind of
levels.
rolling watching Chewy. Like, he's killing them dudes.
Oh,
I'm sorry.
dude. Dude, it was so bad.
These are my
I was like,
grips,
I ain't
by the
getting
way.
shit tonight. I'm not getting any kind of belt. I might get demoted tonight. It was rough,
Sucks
man.
to get
but
promoted.
but here's what you got to think. I've been a black belt for 10 years.
God, you're good.
No,
you're good, sir.
I've had time. And I've been lucky enough to where I can basically train all the time. You know,
it's just, dude. It's just like,
because I decided to like be like poor for like 4 years.
Yeah.
Like really poor, like poverty poor. Like I probably could apply for food stamps poor.
Really? Wow.
Yeah. In the beginning, 100%.
Yeah.
I made when I first quit, I was like making $1,000 a month.
I remember you saying.
And then whatever else I'd have to, like, whatever else I needed was coming from privates.
what did you eat?
Huh?
What was your diet
Wasn't
like?
Derek kind of like, all right, like, what are you gonna do for everything else you need?
Yeah, well, basically, Derek was like, I was like, can I get this much? And he was like, yeah, sure. I was like, okay, I'll figure out the rest. And it's weird how it worked. It's weird how it worked, bro.
How awesome
Derek
is
got
that?
online like, dear diary, might have just killed a guy today. He's living off of $1,000 a month.
Well, you know what surprised me was it was like right when I did that, right? And this is the weird thing that happens, and I can't explain this, but when you just take these big leaps, I guess, you know, I've just been really fortunate. So I do this, and I'm like, all right, $1,000 a month, here I come. Like a week or two later, my friend Natalie calls me up, and she was like, I need someone to help me go to these prisons to administer this test.
that, yeah.
And basically it was we would go into prisons, and they had a grant from the university, and basically what would happen is we would take these guys through specific workouts, and basically they would measure, they would take blood work, and basically measuring essentially the effects of exercise on people without any change really to their diets or anything like that. And so basically we would go through the exercise and then whatever. And along with my grant and then this money coming from the grant, I was actually making more money at first than I was when I was working my regular job. I was like, this is so crazy. You know, and then
Entrepreneur.
yeah. Well, no, I wasn't like that.
Hashtag.
No.
Hashtag
That word wasn't
Lambo
around.
money.
No, dude, because now every jerk that like, you know, every asshole that's got like a Facebook page is like, I'm an entrepreneur. I'm like,
No, it's not just that. It's let me show you how to make all this money.
Well, that's
like,
too.
Wait a second.
Yeah.
What do you have? What are you doing?
Well, I just rented this really nice house. But like for me, like the word wasn't there. I was just doing something I liked. You know, and then you know the business. I wanted to be a business owner, but I didn't think of entrepreneur.
Mm-hmm.
It's buzzword, right? But then that job went away. Then I just had to figure it out. I was doing private lessons and everything else, and then started to kind of get more into the business and marketing side of it to try to figure out how to do this thing to where you actually do it. You know,
That's a whole other skill set right there.
yeah,
I mean,
absolutely. That was like basically I was a white belt. And, you know, had to learn my stuff.
Same process, man.
Pretty
Just
much.
grinding, learning, making mistakes.
Pretty much. Basically
You
doing
make
all
a
this.
mistake, you learn from it.
Making lots of mistakes, wasting some money sometimes,
Yep.
you know, doing a lot of work, reading a lot of books, and putting in a lot of hours that no one will ever see, right? No one ever sees, no one ever, like, there's no pats on the back. There's no, like, you know, looking at it. It's just like training, right? Like, if someone goes and competes and wins and looks really good, there's so many hours of time that they're spent that no one ever sees. No one's going to give you a pat on the back. It's just you doing your thing, you know. And I think that's why it's so important. Like I was listening, I'm listening to this this like lecture series on whatever, and they were talking about this this idea, right, of like, you know, like we say we make our choices, right? But do you? Right, and this is that topic of like free will, right? Like, do you really make them? Because society's influencing you. You have certain DNA inside of you that's sort of expressing itself in different ways depending on your environment. Like, what's really going on? Even the idea that you're thinking, right? How do you know you're thinking? Did you plan to have those thoughts, or did those thoughts just pop in, or is it just that the thoughts are present rather than you thinking? Anyway. If you think about people, like everybody kind of has like certain gifts and certain sort of talents and things like that, or certain sort of dispositions toward things. They have a natural inclination to do something. To me, it's like what's useful as a person is if you can find the thing that you kind of enjoy doing and then kind of move in that direction, it's nice. Like, you know, if you talk to someone who's like an accountant, like I've met people before and they love it. Like, I love being an accountant. And then I've talked to people that hate it, right? So it's like, you know, like one guy, like he found his thing. Like he loves dealing with numbers, you know. You talk to people that do all kinds of different work and they absolutely love it. You know, there's guys that like turn wrenches on cars and they friggin' just, it's a blast for them, you know, trying to find that sort of thing. So I got lucky where I was like, I found a way like to use my big mouth. Because I've always got in trouble. I remember I was like a kid in school, and it was like I always got like my teachers would be like, Nicholas is a good kid, and he's intelligent, but he talks too much. You know, so
were you talking really?
Oh, dude,
I could see you being like a quiet kid.
I was a class clown.
Really?
Oh, dude,
that's awesome.
I was a big ham. So like up until before I got jumped. Once I got jumped, that's what changed it. Yeah, but like before that, I was like just, dude, I was a ham. I would just be out there being silly all the time, talking all the time, and then I found a way to use that natural thing that I had with being a big mouth, along with my training, and then kind of made it work.
That's cool.
What about you? Like, do you look back and like do you see like certain sides of yourself that are like sort of showing themselves now?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, like what you see like last night with the Gauntlet walk, like that was me. Like I'm just out there.
Oh, it's
like,
so ridiculous.
You know,
it's so
like,
ridiculous.
he can tell you, like he's known me most of my life. Like I was saying that earlier online. Like, you know, I was always kind of a crazy, look at me kind of person.
Dude, it's weird because he was quiet. Like, I don't be kind of quiet.
And then like, you're like, it's okay, be yourself. Like, okay.
Adam's kind of like, I think you maybe observe, like you're kind of stand back and let me check out the situation, and then it gets crazy,
bro.
That's how I was when I started here at Derby City, because like you guys used to make comments like, you know,
you're the quiet
Adam's
one,
the quiet one, and like I remember. What are you watching?
Oh, you go ahead.
But Chad, our buddy, was like, you know, when you came over here, I was kind of worried you might be kind of a jerk. You know, you were kind of stoic and kind of quiet, you know. But like, I'm glad, you know, we got to know each other because you're kind of cool and something to that. I'm paraphrasing.
Yeah, of course.
But something like that. And I was like, oh, really? I didn't mean to give off that kind of vibe. But now that I'm like among my people, like, give me the phone. I'll record myself as I walk the gauntlet.
You volunteered.
So wow. So last night
I didn't volunteer for that. You stuck that in my hand. You're like, hold this. I was like, all right.
Actually, it was my idea, but I did not have
It was a beautiful idea. You got to post it online because I want to.
I'll be posting it online later. But you're the one that volunteered to do it, right? So
no, I'm not. Yeah, it's a good idea. I'm not going to turn down a good idea.
So, well, no, I'm saying you volunteered to walk the gauntlet.
Yes.
You walked the gauntlet on the stripe.
But I didn't tell anybody else they had to do it.
I thought it was a thing. I was following you, General.
Yeah, right.
Blindly.
Now we all got to do it. Now you've done it and I've done it. Everybody else is going to do it too.
So last night, and I know this is going to rub some people the wrong way. It's funny. It's like it's such a hot issue. Right? People are like, it makes me so angry. But last night it does. It's so funny. Last night, we got done and I was sitting around looking, and it just something felt like missing. And so there, we were like, and especially then I looked at little Josh, one of our students who's like about 135 pounds.
He's the worst.
And he has the, like when we do the gauntlet, like with the whipping of the belts, he has the worst one.
He's the worst.
Dude, he can hit your back right in the right place. He's a little belt goblin.
When people ask to show up and drill, he's like, "Let's drill like the hitting with the whip." You know?
Do you know why he hits the right spot? Because he's so short.
Yeah,
it's right in his
low back. He's got that low center of gravity.
He gets the low back. That's the word. I'll take it in like the mid back around the shoulders.
Yeah,
all
and then
day
you're
long.
like sitting there like, it hurts.
The low back is the worst.
It's like that feeling where like if you dip yourself in really hot water in the bathtub and you're, that's hot, but it just doesn't go away.
Yeah,
but
it stings.
But I was like, all right, we need to do the gauntlet, and it's so funny because as crazy as we are, right? Like, I mean, granted, our gauntlet's not like brutal. It's a whipping and it's whatever. But like, no one's like getting hurt and whatever. There's no like weird maliciousness because I've seen some that are kind of weird.
We all have
like,
a safe word, it's fine.
Rusty pineapple. But like, there's like I've seen some where like the guys are just like, I mean, they're like hitting him multiple times, just like whipping him, and it seems very. It's just weird.
They're trying to crawl away and they're pulling him back.
Yeah, right.
Some more.
Yeah, this one's more of like
I don't even train jiu-jitsu. I got lost.
I was just checking out with the stores in the strip mall. But so at the end of it, I was like, all right, guys, we're gonna do the gauntlet, because I wanted to make sure I got one on Josh, because he lit me up. He lit me up last time, and then everybody, including the people that were getting ready to have to walk, cheered. Like, it wasn't like, oh man, it was like everybody went, yeah. Like, even the people that are getting ready to walk the damn thing, I was like, what does it say about us?
I don't know if I cheered, but I was like, let me just get this over with. I was ready to go first, but they had to. Dude, Josh went first. I was like, dude, let's just go. Let's do it.
This is my favorite part. So I'll post it, like, for you guys watching this. I'll have this video up on my Instagram later on. But Adam walked the gauntlet for his first stripe. I didn't make him. I didn't tell him he had to. That was something I did.
He threatened me offside.
I've actually, I walked my gauntlet every time I got a stripe, just because I don't know, because I'm stupid.
He likes it.
But I don't like it. It freaking stings.
Like
it stings.
It does.
You
stings.
like a little punishment. You're like,
I like going through it because
see what you can fit in there.
Well. A little much bourbon there, huh? But no, for me, it's like so if I'm gonna if I'm gonna tell someone else like, hey, this is what we're doing, I'm gonna continue to do it too. So this way, it's like, hey, look, like I'm doing what I'm doing. But anyway, if any of the black belts are listening, you don't have to walk it after your stripes. Yeah, that's just me. Yes, you do. But so Adam, we gave him the phone, and so he's recording his gauntlet.
See if you can turn it that way. See if they can see it.
Can you put it up there or no? That'd be cool.
They can't see it.
They can't see that right there.
Oh, they can kind of see it there.
Kinda.
So Adam is walking the gauntlet, and he's holding my phone.
It was amazing. You got great angles right here. This one. Oh yeah, you can see that.
He goes, why is that your noise? I was like, I gotta work on that for the next promotion.
Oh man.
So I'll post it up later.
This is very natural, that's just how it came out. That's the pain radiating up through my spine and coming out.
Oh, it's so ridiculous.
Is that 3 years?
Yeah,
after 3 years? 3 years of black belt?
2018.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
That's crazy, man.
So when's the next, just out of curiosity, is it three?
Every three, I think, right?
5, doesn't it go up? Doesn't it change as you go on?
For the first 3, it's 3. Then it goes up to 5. Yeah.
And then it goes up to 5. Okay, I knew there was something.
It's incredible.
So your next one will be 2024.
if we're around for that.
Yeah, right. It sounds like
I've got an idea. Every
like
gauntlet you walk, whoever gets promoted, you just hop in. Just for fun. Just show them how it's done. Show them it's a fun activity.
We're all getting along here. As my knees buckle.
At what point do we're getting too old for this?
Never.
Our skin
when
starts
our
to get
skin
old
gets
and brittle.
so thick it starts to
bleed. Yeah, and then
it's like they start whipping this old man. It hurts.
You gotta get some sort of coagulants or whatever.
He's bleeding out.
It's not stopping, and I've got this gauze that I'm changing.
We have to sign a consent if you're on any blood thinners.
Yeah.
Oh.
I was like, hold on, Chewy, I got on some medication. I don't think this is gonna work.
I've been eating a lot of aspirin.
I bleed easily.
Oh. He's guilting us into it. Like, I'm on my 8th stripe now, and I keep doing it, so you got to do it.
Man, God, I just scratched my back, and it hurts a little.
How is your back this morning?
It's fine. I've got one spot that
Does your mutant healing factor kick in?
What's so funny is it's like it looks bad and sounds terrible, but like it really there's no, it's all superficial.
Well, it's such in a weird way. We're freaking commemorating. It's like a rite of passage. It's a rite of passage.
Do you get mad when you're not beat up a little? Because sometimes I you look at the video and you're gonna post later, it looks painful, but then you look at your back, maybe I was overreacting.
I wish you did not. You underreacted. You laughed.
It hurts when it's happening, and then your back's a little red, like a sunburn. You're like, I really kind of.
I recorded your original black belt promotion, and that one's funny.
That one's good too.
Yeah.
You were twerking.
He was going up to it and going, you get a whack. Now you get a whack, and just walking his way down. I mean, and then me, I'm like, ow, God, it hurts. Like
you see the biggest dudes, the biggest, toughest guys. They're like,
Well,
like
yeah.
Big Rich is so just a massive man.
bear.
He's such a
Big
massive
monster.
man, and he's like
He's half bear.
switching around.
Meanwhile, little Josh is just kind of like walking, like he's like
Stopping.
Is that it?
Josh is walking. He's like,
waiting.
I deserve this.
I knew it was coming.
I wish he would have gone last because I wanted to feel him hit me, and then I would hit him back harder.
Yeah.
Like
I don't think you could
he
get
went
that-
first.
I believe in you and your abilities to whack, but it's very hard to mimic what he does.
I know, but I would have hit him. I would have. I don't.
It's a talent. Like,
I don't hit as hard as I can.
He
I
needs to
just
put
don't
out an
want to.
instructional on
Oh my
that.
God! Listen, Chewy,
Like
good video.
Chewy's like, subscribe to a new grip breaking thing. Like Josh comes in, is like, I got something how to whack somebody with a belt. That's what you need to subscribe for.
You can make a video, probably. I don't
You
know.
could do it. Have Josh be your
That's funny.
your uke.
How to survive the gauntlet.
How to survive.
I think it's funny. Like it never fails. We get these negative comments. Like, where do you people come from? Like,
It's the intent behind it. The people.
But do these people train? Like, are
Well,
they,
so here's the thing. So I mean, like again,
some of them sound like moms. No
Now, listen.
offense, but it's just like
here's the thing. I totally
parents that are pissed.
I totally understand. Totally respect if you don't want to do it, and I totally don't. It's totally fine. No problem. And if your gym doesn't do it, I don't care. It's fine. But it's just one of those things where I didn't even do it originally. I didn't have one until I was a brown belt. And it was just then afterwards, it was like, actually, I didn't do it until I was a black belt. Excuse me.
You didn't have a gauntlet?
We didn't have one
Really?
back then. And then I got one as a black belt. And I was like, and that was like the
Did we
first.
do them when we were younger?
What's that?
Did we have gauntlets when we were coming up? Like, I can't remember.
Well, I got my blue belt at Derby City.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you had to wear yours. I still
I
have-
had a gauntlet.
So we
every
did
time.
not get them we got our green belts. That was cool.
You got your blue belt at previous gym.
The previous gym. I got my blue belt right as it closed. So we did. That was in a guy's apartment. They didn't beat me.
What did you
That
do
would
to
have been
get
weird.
that
Like
belt?
his girlfriend walks in. Are you coming? I'm up here to pick you up at 8, and he's whacking me with his belt. Like, no.
That's how I got my green belt. We were getting ready to leave for a competition, and
Like,
and he just threw it on. I was sitting on the couch. He's like, "Hey man, wear this on Monday." I'm just like,
Isn't that the funny story? Like when I came to the gym and I had my green belt on, I was like, I don't care. I earned this thing.
By the way,
Like,
for you guys that are listening, the old gym that we used to train at, they would do a green belt as a kind of an intermediary belt between white and blue. So
you
And
get
you
a
would
lot
test
of
for
weird looks at tournaments. Like, what the hell is he wearing?
well, we always used to have my white belt for tournaments, and I'd wear my green belt in the gym. Because if you wear a green belt, sometimes they'd try to bump you up to the blue belt weight class.
So wait, when did we first get whacked? When did we first get our gauntlets?
I was a blue
So
belt.
you
I
got a blue belt gauntlet at
Yeah,
Derby
I got
City.
one at every single one.
Okay. you were
Okay,
a purple
so
belt
I was a
then.
purple belt then.
Yeah.
Oh,
I
that
got one
was
every
dramatic.
single one. Yeah.
Yeah. All right.
I don't
I'm
know.
glad we established it. So what were you saying? You were talking about your gauntlet. You didn't have one until you were a brown belt.
Black
belt.
Yeah, black belt.
That black belt one was intense because you had like people from all over town showing up. We had like
Yeah.
1,000 people like in 2 rows.
Yeah,
And
we had people that hadn't trained in a while. They were just there to celebrate the promotion.
we had
Did you
somebody
walk
from a bus
once?
stop out back just showed up with his.
I went down and back. And I remember it was funny too because like my
So you
like,
had lost time you had to catch up for. It was like
Yeah,
it was
right.
all those years of whackings that you didn't get all in one day.
We're all here to show our support by whipping you, and like I remember like Derek was like there'd be people coming in just to hang out, and he's like, no, jump in here's a belt, whip them.
It's from J.C. Penney. Here, use this.
Yeah.
It's weird. People would like come out of the woodwork. I haven't seen you in like 8 months. What are you doing? They just come in.
Yeah.
Wouldn't even train. Just hang out, have their gi on. And it's like, all right, let's get the show on the road. I'm like, what's wrong with you?
Yeah, right.
It almost like you need to be in the gym training before you can,
Yeah. But yeah, no, it's different, and it's not the thing that everybody likes to do. It's fine. And like I said, I've seen some that are terrible, and that's the thing. You'd have to be in the environment sometimes because it's almost like words. Like Jess and I have these like fake fights sometimes. Like
They're fake for you. They're very real for her. She's
Oh,
trying to
dude.
make a point, and you're
No,
like,
she'll be talking back to me. And
"But
stuff.
you're silly. You know I'm not doing
What
those
is a
dishes."
fake fight?
Like so,
Fake argue?
Yeah, like I'll talk
Yeah,
shit.
walk us through this because this is intriguing.
All right, it's like this.
So she's mad, and you're not taking her seriously. Is that what this is?
No, she won't be mad. She'll be sitting there, and then like I'll just like talk shit to her, about
Yeah,
stuff.
you're starting a fight.
But no, but
sweet Jess.
it's hard. It's hard to because it just happens in the moment. I'll just like come in or something, and I'll be like, "Why aren't these dishes done?" I was like, this is your womanly duty to do these dishes or something.
You can't do that to her. She's so nice.
but here's the thing. Or I'll say it about dinner. Like, so this is one time I was like, baby, why isn't dinner done? You haven't done your womanly duties for the evening. She's like, and I'm the one that cooks most of the time. So she's like, shut your ass up and get in the kitchen and fix me some food. Now, talking back, right? It's like we're just kind of going back and forth and messing with each other. Now, if you were to like take those words and just transcribe them, you'd be like,
Yeah, something
these
awful.
people hate each other. Right, but then if you were there to hear us laughing about it or talking with each other in the tone that we use, right, it would be completely different. And I think that that's kind of the thing. There's when you go into a room, you feel a vibe that you get. Like, I mean, you go into a competition, right? You get that vibe as soon as you walk in. You're like, oh, okay, here we are. Same thing. You go into a gym. I've gone into gyms where I wasn't very welcome, and I can feel the heat. You know, like from like.
Is this before you were YouTube famous?
Yeah. Okay. So like you kind of feel like, ooh, that something's up, you know. But then you go into a vibe where it's very welcoming, right? Like, I mean, I've gone to, you know, people's homes and like there's a warmth that comes from the home, not from the actual warmth of like say the heat, but like the actual like the feelings that you get. You walk in and you feel very welcome. Hey, let me give you some food. Hey, would you like to here sit down on this really comfortable chair, right? People that are very welcoming. There's a warmth to that, and so you go in, you can feel those vibes. And, you know, if someone was to come in there, they would feel it. I mean, even like last night, we had people that were there at the gym for like the first time. And they're like watching it and they're like, these guys are crazy. But they weren't like appalled from it because they can see that we're laughing, we're giggling about it and everything else. It doesn't make any sense to them, of course. But again, it's just one of those things. So
you had new white belts on the other side. Like, maybe jiu-jitsu's not for me. they're in class number like 4 or 5. We're like, I don't know.
It's funny, man. I've never had anybody, because it's happened several times where like new white belts have come in for the beginners class while we're doing like the you know the Gauntlet or something. I've never had one not sign up.
Who was the little grandma that watched them the one time and her reaction?
Miss Rose.
So yeah.
She was the best. She's like, oh no.
Yeah,
it's so good. It's just her reactions were the best.
Yeah,
it was fun. I got to see if I don't think my mom's seen it yet. My mom or dad want to see what their reaction is, if they're gonna like flinch or anything.
Probably just look at like, why do you do something?
What is wrong? They ask me all the time,
what's wrong with you?
Why are you going to jiu-jitsu? Why are you doing that stuff? Why are you hurting yourself?
I mean, it's...
Oh, they don't say it like that, but...
No, I mean, it's just one of those things where it's hard to explain to people. Like, it just... I mean, because it doesn't... When you think about it, it doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense at all. So I'm going to go... like, when you just think about it, like, I'm going to go to this place, and I'm going to, you know, tug on joints. We're going to throw each other. I know I'm going to get injured from time to time. It's really exhausting. Like, it's more expensive than a regular gym membership, and you know, you don't ever stop, so like it never ends, and all this different stuff. And sometimes it's frustrating, you know, like whatever. So you deal with all this stuff. There's all these things going on. It's like, why do you do it? But then there's other things that are going on there. You know, along with the camaraderie, the fun of the game itself, the feedback that you get, that feedback loop, which is just it's just such an addictive game. The positive chemicals that come from training and cardiovascular exercise and movement. There's so many different things that are going on there, but for people that haven't done it, it doesn't make any sense. You know. Do
you ever feel crazy when you're describing it to people who don't train? They're like, "Oh, what do you do? You know, some sort of martial arts?" And like, "Yeah," and you tell them, you start talking about it, like, "Yeah, well, walk me through. Like, how do you start? You punch each other? Like, no, we start standing. We
choke each other,
wrestle each other to the ground, and I try to establish some sort of dominant position, and then I try to choke the guy or break his arm." Oh,
so think of
it used to be way harder to explain. Now that the UFC is bigger, like now it's like
I think it's the ground aspect.
Yeah, exactly. You watch UFC. Yeah, you know when they like imagine you take out the punch and the kicks of UFC, and that's jiu-jitsu and wrestling. Oh, okay, makes me.
Yeah, but you got to think about who your audience is when you're having that. Like I'm talking about like your dental hygienist asks you, you know, and she's some older lady,
bro,
and you're like you're talking to her, she's like, so you choke each other.
Yeah. Huh. Well, like when I got my nose broken. I remember like when the doctor fixed it, and when I went back and the surgeon, you know, he's like checking it out, and he's like taking out the packing, you know, and stuff. He's talking to me. He said, "So are you gonna keep doing that stuff?" You know, and I was like, "Yeah, doc, it's kind of like my job. Like it's what I do for a living." And he just kind of looked at me like, "Huh," you know, like like you know, just because he does, you know.
I'm gonna prescribe a psych exam. I want you to go meet this guy over here.
Can we get someone in here with a straight jacket and an orderly? Like, can we get rid of this? Is there something wrong with them? But yeah, no. So it's like they
like this.
They don't understand, but at the same time, I don't understand why people do stuff. Like for instance, I don't understand why on earth you would like, for instance, like with like big cars and big houses, right? I have no problem with them, and if you like them, then go knock yourself out. But I'll be damned if I'm gonna like make myself like poor for stuff. You know, like I don't want to be like, I don't want the most expensive house that I can get or the most expensive car. Like for what? You know, like what do I care? It's like I don't like I'm doing something else. It's like I don't understand it. Now, some people do it, right? But I've been around people where like I've been in conversations before with people that like have all this stuff. And this is back when I was like really like broke. This is like $1,000 a month Chewy days, right? Yeah. And I remember like hanging out with these guys, and they're friends of mine, but like they're all talking about, you know, oh man, I got this boat. I've got this boat. Oh, I've got this car. I've got this car. And they're like doing this like freaking like pissing contest about whose stuff's nicer kind of thing, and and I'm sitting back and I'm thinking like, am I doing it wrong? Because I feel like I'm not like, I don't care, like I thought we were just hanging out here eating some food, and then like the conversation turns to me and I'm like,
I'm poor and I
train
choke
Jiu-Jitsu
people for work.
Yeah.
Imagine me explaining it. Like my whole purpose of my job is to protect people's
Take care of
joints
yourself.
and make them
As you reach out with your arthritic hand to like.
It's like talking to you should really be careful with what you're doing. What do you do for fun? Well, actually try to choke each other and rip joints apart.
Eugene like talks to his patients like this because his neck's all lodged weird.
So people do look at me funny a little bit, like if I tell like some clients and stuff about it. Like,
how often does it come up? Do they? Do you get a lot of jiu-jitsu people? I know, like
I do, and then some I don't, and they're kind of like, and some people will like find out I do jiu-jitsu, and then somehow they'll like find me on like the YouTubes, and I'm like, and that's a weird thing. I'm like, yeah. So I don't know. It is strange, like, but I think there's a purpose to it. Maybe I'm drawn to it for my place is to help people kind of stay. I've always had this thing with longevity. I've always been infatuated by that, like living longer or like
pretty normal human thing.
I don't know, and it's amazing to me. I mean, especially now, like looking what we had this conversation about like people in their 50s or 40s, like what were they doing like 20 years ago, right?
Yeah.
Like no, probably just playing a little golf and that was it, right? Now it's like
drinking beers.
We've got 50-year-old men and women that are just like out there and they're competing, they're doing their thing, and there's some tough people, and it's just interesting. I don't think 50 is as old as I thought it was.
Yeah, right.
Or even 60.
There are a lot of people in their 50s now. Like that's going to be their good old days. Like they're still very active. They're finding new activities. This being one of them, and they're like, hey, I was. Maybe one day when they're 80, which is 30 years down the road, they'll be like, man, when I was 50, I was competing in tournaments and traveling around and training with younger dudes. It was fun.
Well, I think also as we kind of like being mindful of your health and all that stuff, like you think back in the day, people really didn't really know as much,
and technology wasn't as good.
Well, I mean, but I'm saying like, I feel like there was a period of time, because it's like, you see this stuff that we like that humans put into their bodies, and you see the effects of it sometimes. Like, we were watching something, and it was like, I guess at the turn of this, like back in the early 1900s, they discovered radium, which is like, it's a radioactive, and they were just like putting it in water and everything else. We're like, radioactive water is great for you, right? And
radioactive water.
Yeah. So, and people were dying from it, like getting sick and stuff like that. And, and then you think about all the, like the weird, like for instance, all the trans fats they did with like butter, made margarine. They're like, oh, margarine's so much better than butter. Butter's full of those pesky saturated fats and cholesterol. We've got margarine, it's got like little to no fat, but it's got all, or whatever, but it's like these trans fat, and at the time they didn't know it went through your arteries like broken glass. So it's like, oh yeah, it's great. So like you were like trying to be heart healthy, meanwhile you're like destroying your arteries. Like you think about that, like how many like people probably were in some way, shape, or form where it contributed to their heart disease through like the things that like these weird oils that were added to foods back in the day. We didn't know any better, and so you just don't know. You don't know like what we're doing to ourselves. But so I think there's like a more of a movement to like, hey, look, try to be as like be mindful with your food and things like that. And
simplify it a little bit
to some degree, right? Try to eat good foods and stuff like that, and try to save less minimally processed, right? As best you can.
Do you ever go back and watch like any of these like old commercials for cigarettes? Oh, they're hilarious. Like they actually marketed them like they're good for you. Like some of the stuff's like, oh, these are the healthy kind. Like these will really perk you up. Like,
have you seen the one I like watching old commercials, just from like a advertising perspective. But they had like the Flintstones, and they would
they were buying
he's like, Winston's got the full flavor. Like, what is going on? Yeah, it's Flintstone. They were like for Winston cigarettes. And then I was watching something the other day. Had like Jim Henson. He did one for this. What is it? It was like something coffee, and it was the weird. It was like these two like puppets, and like Wilton's Coffee or something. You know, and then these two puppets would go, and like basically one puppet would pretty much always kill the other one. He's like, "Hey, do you want some Wilton's Coffee?" He's like, "No, I don't like it," and he would like shoot him. Like it's like people that don't like Wilton's Coffee disappear. You know, like this is wild.
My dad shows it was like a wolf. It's a wolf and a bunny or something.
Is this some old Russian?
It's a Russian cartoon. Yeah, my kids
so you
love
know it's
it.
good.
And the wolf's walking around smoking a big cigarette and stuff, and it's
drinking some vodka.
and he's got this raspy voice, and I was like, "This is so." I mean, just the cartoons we used to watch is so funny. I mean, it's like this stuff we never.
Bro, did you see? They changed. Have you seen where they changed Elmer Fudd?
Oh, yeah, you showed me the other day.
What is he?
Elmer Fudd.
He doesn't have a gun anymore.
He doesn't have a gun because guns are.
Really?
Yeah. So check it out. They got rid of Elmer Fudd's gun, but to me, it's like.
Show it to the camera.
You wonder, like, is this better? Like, is this the route we should have gone?
Yeah, like I looked at this and I was like, really? This is what we're going to?
Isn't that so? That's Looney Tunes. I don't even think Looney Tunes is around anymore.
My kids don't know who
it's
Bugs
probably
Bunny
it's
is.
probably not like okay anymore.
So they just like erase the gun.
No.
The newer cartoons, apparently they're still cranking them out. But
Yeah, they're still cranking it out. But here's what it is.
they've gone a more progressive route with Elmer Fudd.
So so with Elmer Fudd now, instead of a gun,
What's he have?
I'll show
What is
you.
it? Carrot
Not a flamethrower.
for a bunny.
That would have been cool.
Then he always go after Bugs Bunny.
Yeah, but he always confused between rabbit season and duck season. Remember?
Rabbit season.
I don't remember
Duck
that.
season.
I don't remember that.
All right, let's
too
see.
much.
Pull it up.
What was your favorite
That was
cartoon, Adam? Growing up.
Growing up,
Mine was X-Men.
X-Men. Before that, it was when I was real little. It was Thundercats.
I like He-Man.
When I was real little, it was He-Man, and I made a He-Man reference to this podcast earlier. So if y'all
did.
caught it,
So it's a sickle.
it's a sickle.
Show it right there.
So he's
what?
got a sickle now. So he went from having a gun to becoming like the friggin' like Grim Reaper.
Oh, a sickle. I see it.
Do you remember when he would actually shoot something like Daffy, like Daffy's beak or
Yeah, it would
his
turn
bill,
black.
His bill, yeah, he'd blow his back, and he would never blow a hole in anybody.
Yeah.
But that, like, how do you kind of like
Just impale him.
childize that? Like,
can't.
you're gonna cut Bugs in half, right? I mean,
Yeah.
Well, no, it's annoying because he never gets the bunny.
right? But
like, come on,
but he
he's gonna
did
do it
shoot
this time.
things. He did shoot like Daffy Duck, and Daffy would get like all burnt
the
looking,
worst.
and his bill would flip around. He'd straighten it out, and he's like, "Oh, it's speckable," and that kind of crap. You remember? You've watched it.
Where it would,
But what do you
have,
do with a sickle? Like,
He'd turn him into the angel of death.
yeah, like
What
Daffy just
cartoon did you
died.
like
Which what?
when you were younger? Do you have
You were an
favorite?
X-Men guy, weren't you?
I mean, I loved X-Men.
Batman was really
X-Men
good too.
X-Men was good.
Batman
I used to like
animated series.
I used to like Doug and Rugrats and
I
Ren and
watched those,
Stimpy.
yeah.
Ren and Stimpy was such a
that's
weird one.
dark.
That
Rocco's
was
Modern
dark,
Life was
yeah.
good.
Rocco was funny. I laughed my ass off at Rocco.
But like Rocco,
And Heifer, remember his friend the steer?
I don't. I watched that a little bit.
You
not much.
watched it. I thought we talked
watched it
about
some.
Rocco.
turn
I
a
watched it some.
page, wash your hands.
Turn the page. Or do you remember the one where what was Filbert? Remember he was trying to become a dentist or
Yeah,
whatever,
yeah.
and like the tooth mutated and became sentient.
Well, like
What?
It was a wild show, man.
it was such a crazy like with both like Rocco and Ren and Stimpy were like I feel like they were like a little bit older. The
Ren and
humor
Stimpy was worse. Yeah.
Ren and Stimpy was really bad. Like when you go back and watch it, like I mean, I've watched a couple episodes as an adult, and I'm like, I can't believe I was watching this as a kid.
Mm-hmm.
You know, because you're like looking at it. But I remember my buddy and I, like, I mean, we're like little, you know, humans are just little monkey creatures, right? Yeah. And monkey see, monkey do. So we watch Ren and Stimpy, and we do the Happy Happy Joy song. So we're like banging each other's butts back and forth.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, happy joy, joy. You know, just doing it.
People don't know probably what we're talking about because we're old.
Someone probably does. We you know, there's probably some older people out there.
Yeah. Chewy, did you like? I've been to a number of promotions. Did you? And Adam, you can chime in, please, as well. Like, did you like doing the promotions the way we did them yesterday?
Yeah.
It was cool. It was kind of intimate, which
It
was
was
kind of awesome.
What do you feel? And mine was different than yours, and which I feel like I should have made a bigger deal about it. Do you feel like I undersold things? Because I was really pumped about getting the stripe.
Undersold what?
We just kind of like I thanked you, but I didn't give a speech or anything. I know the
No,
other guys
I think it's
did.
fine.
I
No.
felt like it was more like your all's day. You were getting that's a bigger thing, getting your black belt.
No. I think
I
it
was
fine.
extremely appreciative, and like I was like pumped when I called Destiny when I got out. I was like, you never believe what happened, but yeah, for me, like that was great for me. But for you, I wondered, and for the other guys, like, you know, did you miss the purple belts or anybody else? Like, because that's more of a question we should probably ask you, because
I it would have been cool like to have the training session and then like they have like their own thing, and then maybe have them come over when we're doing promotions. That could have been maybe like a way to blend the two. But no, I don't feel like I missed out. I think I got to be there with.
For me, it was perfect. I mean, I
loved it. I don't think I was sad that I missed the promotions before like a year ago. I was sad I wasn't there.
I texted you. Like, where the hell were you?
You were sick.
I was sick as
was,
shit.
yeah.
I remember that,
to be
dude.
there.
I was like, how did you miss tonight?
Bro, I
didn't-
remember that because we did a podcast and like the day before, and he's like, like,
Did you have COVID?
I bet he's
probably
patient.
had
He was
COVID,
patient zero, and
Did you have the variant and
I
you just
probably
didn't tell
had
anybody?
it,
Like
bro.
it started with you and kind of propagated?
It was before the shit came. Like,
because well, I mean,
I'm telling you, I would have. I'm telling you, man. I remember Rob is literally Robums is like in line, and he's like texting me. He's like, "Where the hell are you at, dude?" I was like, I texted him a picture of like I'm on the couch. I was like, dude, I can't move, man. I was felt so, and I didn't like. It wasn't about. I just wanted to be there to see people get promoted, man. I was just like, I wanted to. A lot of guys got like Nick Pavone got promoted.
Yeah.
Rob got promoted. You know, I was just like, damn. I think John Stone might have gotten his purple belt or so. No, did he get his purple belt that time? There were some other people that got their belts, man. I was just like, I just sucked. I wish I was there.
Yeah.
I was sad about it.
I think Gary got his purple belt then. I can't remember.
Gary, God, that guy.
But no, I mean, I dig it. I like the training session.
It was awesome,
The
man.
format and everything. I just didn't know if you felt one because I know we have a lot of lower belt friends that so.
Yeah, it would have been cool for them to be there, but like I didn't really care. Like
It's
I wasn't.
It's
It wasn't
your
on
thing,
my
so,
radar. Like
yeah.
honestly, like I wasn't even. To be honest, I wasn't expecting anything.
Yeah,
like I was like,
you knew.
I really didn't. I swear to you, I didn't. After fucking Chewy beat the brakes off me, I was like, well, I know nothing's really happening now. No, I didn't, man. I was happy to be there. I knew people. I was happy to see people, and I mean, eventually would happen. So I'm not like it's like, oh, I'm never gonna get promoted. Eventually would.
Yeah.
And if it doesn't, so what?
No.
I mean, it's not the purpose.
What was going on the other side of it? Like
There was an open mat.
but
Open mat.
Was there anybody over there? Like,
There was an open mat, and then Spartan ran a class at 7.
Was it a bunch of was it mostly like newer dudes, white belts and stuff? Like
It's
that?
hard to say because I mean, like since 6 o'clock wasn't going on, I'm sure there were probably more color belts over there. But usually it's like a beginner class. Yeah, it's like a basic fundamentals for like the newer white belts.
I mean, I'll tell you what I didn't miss. I didn't miss having like 100 people hit me in the back with a belt. So it was good to have like,
What about the
15 or so.
Yeah, that was probably good.
That
What
was
about the
alright.
Shark Tank? We haven't done that in a while.
That's something.
Dude,
I think
Did you
don't-
like the Shark Tank?
super.
I mean, the Shark Tank's fine, but like,
That's rough.
I mean,
That's
you guys-
rougher than the Gauntlet.
I mean, yeah, the Shark Tank is rough
That's
in the
not
gauntlet.
an enjoyable experience.
I mean, you guys got plenty of good rolling in.
Yeah.
So to me, it's like, to me that was you had quality rolling in, and I mean, like the Shark Tank's fine. I always get worried about the Shark Tank because for injury's sake.
Yeah,
just
So
because
people jump on you and stuff.
Yeah,
and-
because it's like the Gauntlet, it's like superficial, whack whack whack. Oh, it hurts a little bit, and then I take a picture and whatever, no big deal. Whereas like the Gauntlet, if you do like a 20-30 minute Gauntlet, dude, it's rough. Like,
that's what I think is less safe. I think that's less safe than the Gauntlet.
of course,
if
the
you
Gauntlet's
think about
super,
it.
it's just hurt your skin.
Yeah.
Like it's like I said, that's whatever. But I personally liked the format, just having all the guys together.
Definitely.
I thought it was
great,
thought it was
man. I
cool.
liked it,
There's some other cool stuff that we'll do with it.
Well, I think it's
but
cool
I enjoyed it.
because I think part of it is like I got a unique experience. I got a unique promotion nobody else did. Right? I got like just the black belts and brown belts there, and that was cool to me as well. Like, and then when I see people, we'll have a roll and we'll talk and we'll hug, and then they'll have their moment to congratulate me and everybody else. And so I like the fact that my promotion, your promotion was different. You were kind of like in your
I really
own.
liked
You were
mine.
on your
That
own.
was cool.
You were kind of on your own like little schedule, but it was really really neat. I just think ours was unique, and I got to be there with people that. So it was awesome, and I'll get to train with people.
When I got it, I remember because like you reached over and you started grabbing my belt. I was like, dude, I can tie it myself because I was tired. Like we had a good round, and probably
You
wasn't
didn't notice
much-
everybody sitting there.
No,
just
I was
waiting,
sitting there like,
watching.
God, I was freaking exhausted. I was like, what the hell is his problem? Thinking talking about Chewy because you kind of put it on me a little bit, I think, from what I remember.
Yeah.
And then you kind of reached across, and I was like, man, I'll get it. I'll tie it myself. And then he strips it off, and I was like, wait a minute. And then like he starts rapping. I was like, oh, it was awesome. That was
Thank
a
God I
good
didn't
day.
ruin that one for you.
I was Right?
Did you hear this story?
No.
Oh my!
It wasn't you.
Did you almost spill the beans, bro?
No,
His wife did.
My wife, dude. No, purple belt.
Oh, okay.
Oh, I felt so horrible. And I love you, Mish. You're the best.
You're
and
great,
it was
Misha.
probably my fault.
We can laugh about it now.
It was my fault. Like I told her, I was like, oh man, I'm so pumped. Like we went to dinner with his wife and Adam and my wife, and I was like, told my wife beforehand. I was like, yeah, Adam's getting ready to get promoted. Like on it was like maybe on Thursday or something that week. I was so excited because I was so excited for him. It's a big deal, man.
Well, purple back then, like
it was huge.
Yeah, you were like one of the first like couple of purple belts that got promoted.
Yeah. So I was like, man, she's getting promoted. This is so. I'm so excited. I was telling her, and she goes. They walk in and go, Adam, congrats on your purple belt.
She goes, congratulations.
And I go, no.
He goes, no. He goes, Misha. Like
that's what I said.
So angry.
Oh man,
I was like, what?
So horrible. Like I felt so bad. I felt like I ruined it for him, and I felt so bad.
Totally didn't know that your purple belt was ruined.
No, it wasn't.
It wasn't. It was
in no way was it ruined.
So when he got promoted, he had to do that thing where like
what?
No, like when you're a kid and you go sneak in and figure out your Christmas presents and you go like, oh wow, I didn't know I was gonna get a Super Nintendo.
Well, no. In all fairness, our buddy Rich, he leading up to that, he was kind of like, you need to keep coming. I was like, I'm gonna keep coming. He's like, no, you need to keep coming. I was like, I'm gonna keep coming. He's like, you're gonna be here next Thursday. You're gonna be coming, like consistently.
Okay, so I don't feel as bad.
No,
Sorry.
like he kind of was encouraging me to just keep training.
Yeah.
You need to stay consistent right around now. So I was like, okay, maybe something. And then when that happened, I was like, thanks, Mish.
Yeah. I got a really sweet message actually from John Stone, asshole Rob, and he was just he sent me a really good message, cool. Texted me, and I was like, thanks, buddy. Cool. And I'm sure he's gonna when he sees me, he's gonna try to put it on. He's gonna try to put it on me. He's gonna let's see if you're worth this black belt, big boy. He's gonna give it to me. Him and then Rich Shabowski. Yeah. Rich messaged me. He's like, yeah, I can't wait to break that belt in. Yeah. I was like, all right, here we go.
Be coming for blood.
He's coming. He's always when he comes in town, he's a rough roll.
Yeah.
He's a fun one. He's a fun one. I think my game, and this is a good question for you, Adam, and maybe Chewy. I think my game, I modeled it a lot after Rich. Mm-hmm. We trained a lot when he was at the first gym I was at. I learned we had kind of similar builds, similar style, so I think my game evolved a lot from what he did. Adam, was there for you? Was there anyone?
Mm-hmm.
And then Chewy the same.
Rich. I was
Rich as well.
Rich and I, we were.
Yeah, you guys trained a lot together. Yeah.
I always told him, or not to his face, but I called him to people. He was my white rabbit because he was far enough ahead of me, definitely that it was very difficult for me. I never caught him, but I felt like he was. It wasn't so far out of reach. It was like, what's the
that? It wasn't competitive.
I could never compete with Chewy. Like he wasn't the guy that you would chase. But Rich, I could see him, and if I could chase him, then that kind of motivated me and kind of helped me kind of progress. Mm-hmm. So he was very much my white rabbit.
Chewy, who's your white rabbit?
As far as I have to send something to one of the students who's trying to do something for the gym.
As far as who maybe impacted your game the most, or you modeled your game after, and it is. I mean, I guess you can look at guys like Andre Galvao you've mentioned before.
What's different when you've got a guy and you see online or a professional, but if you've got a dude in your gym who's your buddy and he's pushing you.
So when I first started, obviously it was my first coach. My coaches early on, I remember I used to go against him, and I remember Mike, my old coach, and I remember I used to watch Dragon Ball Z as a kid, right?
Yes.
So I'm 18 years old.
That's why I'm here. That's why you're here? Okay.
Yeah. Well, no, I'm here because of Bloodsport. But I watched Dragon Ball Z as a kid, and I remember as a teenager, right? And so it's I'm only 18 years old at the time, so I was thinking okay. It's like when the cartoon where the guys, I got to get my power level up so I can go bat to bat, tit for tat with them. And so I would just keep going so many times, you know what I mean? And trying to get better and everything else. Sean rubbed off on me a ton. I remember when I would go, I used to drive, down there to Nashville. I'd get up at 6 a.m. on Thursdays. I'd go down there and train and with Sean, and then I would come up and take some of the stuff I learned around there, put it to work. Mike Colley gave me a lot of help with my wrestling. So he helped me a ton with my wrestling. I mean, I'm just kind of like, even like some of you guys, like the arm bar that I've been using, I got that from Justin, and then I got it from you again, because like Justin showed it a long time ago, and then you showed it one of your classes last year, and I was like, oh yeah,
There's that stuff.
that arm bar again, and I was like, it feels, I'm going to use it now. And so it comes from multiple places, and then there obviously are a lot of online influences where I would do that stuff, or even sometimes, I mean, literally, dude, there's sometimes where like it's almost like did you ever play Mega Man? Remember Mega Man? You beat the guy and you absorb the power.
Yeah.
So a lot of times, like when I would roll with someone, if I found something that they did that I was like, whoa, I took notice of it and I would use it. Like I remember there was this one time I was rolling in California and I went against this guy who was like a Masters 2 competitor, and he just was so tight with his pressure, and he would take his forehead and he would dig it in right in the solar plexus, and he'd be in a tripod. It was awful. I was like trying to push him. I couldn't move him. And I was like, in my head, I was like, mental check. I've got to do that. So if you guys have ever, like when I'm rolling with you and I put that pressure right in your gut with your head, that's where I got it from. I was rolling with a guy and I was just like, man, that's good. And so I think it's really important to be reflective about your training and like think about like what just happened, because there's a lot of stuff you can pick out from it. So you can go through a whole rolling session and just be like, meh, don't know what happened, whatever. But if you like start to pick stuff out, so anytime I feel someone do something, whether it's whatever, I'm like, thank you. That's mine now. So there's tons of influences. I mean, there's too many, both students, higher level people that I come across along the way, training partners, internet stuff, everything in between. Like I'm just, books, everything.
Yeah, I was interested in a little bit of lapel stuff when Nick started playing with it, just by being forced to defend it all the time, being forced to like figure it out. I started playing with that a little bit, and then when I came back for one class and Justin Court was doing head and arm stuff on me recently.
Oh, yeah.
Just destroying. I was like, dude, I can't. Like, my neck was killing me. I was like, I got to do this. So I've been started, even in Nogi especially, I use it. I've started incorporating it a lot more just to add some elements, just some different stuff. And I've found, I'm just playing with it. I'm just starting to develop it a little bit, just a different little wrinkle.
Something different to chest.
Chase. Yeah, it's fun. It's fun to see that. Like, I had a really... It was fun. Me and Matt were rolling, Matt Harrison, and this was really felt really awesome. He said this to me. He was like, "Dude, you remember you taught that? It was a deep half. It was a deep half pass." He's like, "We did it in the 6 a.m. class I came to," and then Chewy was like showing deep half stuff, but he hadn't showed an escape yet, and he started hitting the escape. I showed on everyone.
Yeah, nice.
And I was like, dude, to me, like, it felt, I was like, awesome. So I feel like Matt, and we'll exchange stuff. Obviously he's got a great triangle, and
it's a good feeling.
It was awesome. He just said that to me out of nowhere, and I was like, man, that was, because I've been running that 6 a.m. Friday class, and like we're getting these guys that are just getting so scrappy because we just have such small classes, and everybody kind of knows each other's games, and it's getting so fun.
That's when you have to figure out multiple things to do.
It's getting so fun, man. I think we're gonna come out with some patches maybe. It's going to say 0600 on it.
All right.
Yeah, just for the 6 a.m.
The morning crew?
Yeah, it's a fun one. We were like, we should just have a patch to commemorate everybody, because like Dakota's there every single. I mean, that guy trains so much. Evan trains so much. A lot of these guys are there every like 6 a.m. regardless. And Jeff,
they come back in the evening too.
Yeah, they come back in the evening.
Yeah, dude, Evan, like, he trains all the time.
Well, Evan's like 27 and full of energy. I'm like, dude. And he's always like, you want to roll? You want to roll? I'll come over to your house. I'll make you breakfast and we can roll. Like, literally, he said, I was like, dude, you're nuts. I'll be sleeping. But yeah, he's fun, dude. Dude, he's picked up so much, just so much. He had so much athletic ability, and then he's starting to put like the technique to it. It was really fun. What are we drinking? Did we already tell Dan what we drank? We already told him.
Answer some questions.
Yeah, let's do it. Let's answer some Q&A
we got
stuff.
A whole list of stuff.
Do we have a lot? All right.
I've kind of been keeping.
Chewy, do you want to do? We had a Patreon question.
Yeah,
do you want to do that one real briefly? See if we can kind of go through that one. Do you want me to read it or?
Yeah. So someone for the Patreon had a question. Throw it out there.
Let me see. It's from Patrick, and basically, he said that he works a pretty physical job, and he drives about 2 hours each way, gets about 6.5 hours of sleep a night. He takes CBD to improve sleep quality, but he's got little time to stretch and strength train. He wants to switch his schedule eventually, but he's kind of, any advice on just a mindset or a recovery tips, and also his shoulders get kind of tight or take a beating from climbing. I think it's part of his job is climbing. So I think mindset, is one thing where keeping like just staying motivated maybe because you feel like maybe you're stuck in the mud. You're not making any progress because you're just so limited on your outside the stuff.
But see, the motivated part, it's such a trap.
It is.
Right? Because here's the reason why. Like people like sometimes like if for some instance you look at like social media, everybody looks so damn motivated. Mm-hmm. But in reality, like it's really they're just doing what they got to do. Right? Like so for instance, like I'm not motivated for every training session I go to. I mean, I don't know about you guys. A lot of times I go to the gym and sometimes I'm freaking tired. But I'm like, you know what? I'm here and this is what I'm doing. And then after I'm done, I'm like, it was a great training session.
Never regret training.
Yeah. So like, I think that a lot of times I heard this in that book Atomic Habits by James Clear. Mm-hmm. He had this chapter where he was talking about like he was talking to a weightlifting coach. And when he was talking to this weightlifting coach, he was asking him, what separates the best from like the regular people? Right. And the weightlifting coach was like, well, along with talent, genetics and luck and all that other stuff, he said that what the big separator is how well they deal with boredom. Because the best people are going to be the people that can simply do the work over and over and over again, and just do it, right? Whether they feel like it or not. Stephen Pressfield talks about this in the War of Art, where he talks about the resistance and, do the work, right? He's a writer.
Yeah.
And he said, sometimes writers will wait for the divine spark to go into them and the muse to speak to them. And for him, he's like, the divine spark hits me every day from 8 to 5. Like those are his working hours. He treats it like a job, right? You take your lunch pail to work. And I think you got to take that, even if you're not necessarily it's not a job, but I think that if you really want something out of it, you really want to like get good at something. Because I mean, who the hell does anything to be mediocre? I mean, maybe you do. I don't know, but like for me, I don't want to do anything mediocre. So when I do things, it's like I take my lunch pail mentality where you just do it regardless of being motivated. I think one thing that if you're low in sleep, you're going to need to make sure that one, your diet's in check. Because if your diet's crap, it's just going to compound everything. So you really need to make sure that's in there. The sleep quality that you get's important. So if you're not getting that much sleep, that sucks. But make sure that when you do go home, turn your electronics off. Don't be messing around on your phone. Do things to kind of wind down as best you can. And as far as mindset goes, if you're not able to train and stretch and do everything that you want, again, just sort of be okay with that and make sure that like when you're going into train, you're not getting frustrated because, your buddy, Bob, who is able to train more than you is getting better than you, and you don't measure yourself against them, because a lot of people do that. They'll like, look, oh my God, like this, this guy that's a little bit younger that doesn't have the same responsibilities as me is really climbing, and we used to be the same level. Now he's killing me. Damn it. Right. But as far as the recovery part of it goes, you may not be able to stretch a ton, but I guarantee you there's probably some time you can squeeze in there. I always say this to people, like, if you chase, like, for instance, like guys, like, for guys that are into women, right? We will go to the ends of the earth for our women, right? We just will. So I'm like, sometimes I'll like for instance, young guys will come into the gym and they'll say, oh, Chewy, I don't have time to do this, whatever. I'm like, if you chase this like a young guy that chases a woman, like if you did this thing, if you wanted this, like you want that, you get it done. You'd find a damn way. Yeah. No problem. You haven't made it a priority yet. Mm-hmm. So you can do something. I'm not saying you can do everything. We can do something. But I think that if you're going to get into the recovery part, you have to identify the muscles that are being used when you're climbing, and then work the opposite ones. Stretch the muscles that are being worked and work the opposite. So if you're like doing a lot of, like, for instance, I guess probably be like a lot of bicep and lats and stuff like that. So you're gonna need to stretch those lats, stretch the biceps, gonna work that upper back a little bit, like with the reverse pulling, things like that, where basically you basically stretch out the ones that are really tight or that are being overdeveloped, and then you have to develop the ones that are underdeveloped so that you can create balance. And that helps with their recovery, because one of the things, and this is something I never realized until recently, like when I started doing all these like these weird like this bodybuilding stuff where I'm working out like all these small little muscle groups that just weren't worked out, right? Like I'm getting a lot more balance in my body where like my knees don't hurt. Like I thought my knees were just shot for a while.
I'm worried about
like
that.
Now I'm like, my knees they feel great. Like I can drop down to a full squat and there's no pain. I don't get up in the morning and go pop, 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 pop or crackle or anything, and just not get up, and working out those little small muscle groups and doing lifting in certain ways has been really beneficial. And so I think that, you can you don't have to go crazy in the weights, but if you work out some of those small muscle groups that get ignored, like the upper back, the root delts, things like that. And if you like, even just doing some really slow squats, like slow eccentric squats with pauses at the bottom with some small weight, it can be really helpful. But as far as like the specifics, it's hard. But as far as the mindset goes, and going back to it, you kind of make sure that you understand your place, but and then check your diet for recovery, because diet's a big one. And then as far as the sleep that you get, make sure that you're doing everything you can to get away from the electronic devices before bed. Put the phone down, stop getting on your computer, do some deep breathing or something for a little bit and then get down. So
yeah, I think climbing's a unique thing because you do get some of that. It depends on the position, how you're activating your muscles too. It's kind of a unique thing. It depends on what type of climbing you're doing, but I think a big problem is sitting. Like all the driving you do.
Sure.
I think that's a huge issue because
that's a hard transition for me.
That's tough, man. All the sitting, all the driving.
Hip flexors tightness.
Yeah, like the most recent time I injured my back, I was sitting a lot and I didn't quite get loosened up, and I started squatting and I hurt my back squatting because everything was tight. My hips were. I was just sitting too much.
Yeah.
So I think the sitting is something, obviously the driving is a problem. So
I usually
maybe take a break in your drive, try to take like pull over after an hour, like get out and move around a little bit so you just don't get too terribly stiff. But I mean, that's part of the job, man. It's tough.
Here's a question for you. So like if people that are stretching, I've heard that like, if you're going to hold a stretch and you want to create soft tissue change, do you have to hold it for like 2 minutes?
2 minutes. I would say I believe the research shows, I took like functional range conditioning, which is like this joint training.
Yeah.
And they say at least 2 minutes, the research shows. But when you're warming up, you don't want to do those long hold times.
Right.
You want to do more dynamic, so kind of moving in for 5 to 10 seconds and moving out. You're trying to wake up like the receptors and just kind of get the body warmed up and moving. So I wouldn't hold very long. I wouldn't sit there and hold for 2 minutes.
The long stretches for after.
Long stretch for after helps it also helps with some just relaxing the tissue. Again,
what does this accomplish? I haven't heard this. What is this?
So more of a dynamic stretch. When you're warming up, don't sit there and like hold like a hamstring stretch for 2 minutes. You want to kind of work into maybe a hamstring stretch and work out. Just because you're starting to kind of wake up the muscles.
Pre-jiu-jitsu, like before class or something
before class. So like
Just
a lot of the stuff
around.
that we do as a warm-up that Chewy shows are more dynamic movements.
Yeah.
Like we'll work into a position, we'll roll out of it, we'll kind of get into it for a few seconds. You're trying to wake those muscles up at those end ranges. You're also trying to basically increase temperature, like your heat in your body, because that helps the muscles kind of, gets more blood flow, gets the muscles kind of warmed up. That helps them kind of get used to functioning and helps them feel more. They're more mobile. They're more elastic.
So what's the 2 minute thing? What
The
point
2
do you
minute
incorporate
thing that would be kind of, if you want to see a kind of change, like some type of change in the muscle lengthening,
like flexibility or something.
Yeah,
like
overall, like maybe passive flexibility, where you take a muscle to its end range. To get some, you have to do it consistently, number one. But they say you should hold a stretch for at least 2 minutes. But what I'll do a lot of times is I'll hold the stretch for that 2 minutes, and then like with the training that I've had, I'll hold it for 2 minutes, and then I'll do some activation at end ranges. So I'll push, I'll activate the muscle when it's already all the way stretched, and then I'll try to activate the opposing tissue as well. So like say I'm doing a hamstring stretch with my heel on the floor, I'll stretch the hamstring, then I'll push down, I'll activate my muscles in the hamstring, I'll push down, and then I'll try to lift. And that's kind of, you're starting to train that joint a little bit as well and activate that muscle at its end ranges. And actually, if you do that, if you do a muscle energy technique, you activate and then you release, those muscles kind of go into kind of a relaxation period, and it'll allow you to go a little deeper into a stretch.
Well, one of the things that it's happened to me over the years is, early on in my jiu-jitsu journey, I was convinced I was going to be a rubber guard guy, and I really worked a lot on like the butterfly stretch, sitting there.
Yeah.
Like, I could get my knees all the way to the mat. All that mobility is gone, as I've gotten older. So if I wanted to get that back, could I still do that?
Yeah,
my
I think
age?
so.
And,
I think so. Again,
I would this wouldn't just be a flat 2 minute like pushed in the mat.
I've gotten more flexible since last year.
I'll show you
when COVID started. I started stretching all the time.
I'll show you technique. We'll do a video on butterfly, how to get a better butterfly kind of.
If I could get my knees to the mat again, like
I'll show you something.
It was great,
I'll show you something. Basically, what you're going to do is you're going to do the stretch, and you also do some activation, where you're actually trying to actively engage the muscles around the hips to push them down to the floor, and then try to lift them up against resistance. And you'll do that, and you'll activate those muscles, and you actually will help that tissue relax, and you'll be able to get into deeper. Yeah. And you got to think about what's tight. Is it the muscle? Is it like the adductors, the groin muscle? Or is it the joint capsule itself?
Mm-hmm.
And also, is it an imbalance? Maybe are you having some tightness just because the muscles aren't very strong?
And that's where like
all those in combination.
That's where like having someone who's got some experience would be helpful, because sometimes people think that a muscle's tight, and it's tight not because the muscle's actually tight, but because of an imbalance. Like a lot of people will say, "Oh, my low back's really tight, so they'll stretch their low back." But meanwhile, it could be an issue where their low back's kind of weak, or they could have weak. Yeah. They could have weak posterior chain, like no glutes and hip extension, and they have overdeveloped hip flexors. So again, it's one of those things where if it's something you really want to get into, and you got some nagging body part, go find a physical therapist to like look at your body so they can test things and say, here's what's jacked up on you, and then you can like obviously take their help, and then you can kind of go down the rabbit hole a little bit more.
And like a lot of people, a lot of physical therapists, they're decent at knowing like, hey, this is what you need to do for basketball or for this sport, but they don't really know a lot what jiu-jitsu, what we do. So like I'll tell people like, hey, if I don't show them maybe some wrestling type stuff, like just regular wrestling, or show them some videos of jiu-jitsu basic stuff where you can, because most therapists are pretty smart, like they can assess and see what's kind of, they don't know the nuance of positioning, but they can kind of get an idea on what muscles are kind of being worked. But again, it's just, you have to figure out, like, is it the area that your problem is? Is it the area above, below, surrounding it? Because you'll get fixated on this one spot. It's my hip. But, well, what's your back doing? What's the muscles around you in your hamstring and your knee or your quad? What are those doing? And so,
yeah.
Boy, I could talk about this for hours.
I know.
It's a problem. All right, let's see. There was someone that asked about 2 gyms, Chewy. That was kind of an interesting question.
Etiquette.
Yeah, etiquette. There it is. Okay. So I'll read it. This is from Brad. Brad asks, what's the etiquette on going to 2 BJJ gyms regularly? My gym has great instruction, but we're limited to 1 dedicated partner for contact because of COVID.
Lame.
Business as usual, though, across town. So business as usual across town, 1 partner at the gym that I guess he's...
Yeah, it sucks. Because
could you switch for a period of time and then switch back?
I mean, I guess you could, but
then you're gonna have to succumb to the first gym's COVID etiquette. I mean,
so
you're doing what over there? Oh, you can't come back here.
I mean, because the thing is like, to me, it's like if you're training at the other gym and then you're training at this gym, and they've got the one one person rule, and you're training at the other gym.
Defeating the purpose.
It's defeating the purpose. It's like, so I would just choose the gym for right now.
What works better for you?
And honestly, it's like who are we kidding? Like
it's
like
a whole rabbit hole we can go down.
I mean, it's here we go. I see it. I see it brewing.
Like, so you got you get a room of people together. Okay, you're over there and you're over there, but okay, you're not rolling, but you're huffing and puffing all over the place. Who are we kidding?
Sweat.
It's same thing with like I saw some people where they were wearing masks in a jiu-jitsu class. I'm like, so you're breathing all over each other and you're basically waterboarding yourself. Who are we kidding?
Yeah.
Who are we kidding at this point? Like,
apparently, if you wear 2 masks.
I'm just saying, it's like,
watch out, sir.
Like, if you don't want to be there, I totally understand. If you're concerned, totally understand. If you have family that have autoimmune issues and everything, totally understand. It makes sense, totally. But if you decide to do it, it's like, I mean, to me, it's like,
at some point you got to make a decision. It's like saying like you're weirded out by like public pools. Like, I don't know what goes in there. People pee in them. And like, well, maybe swimming's not for you. If you're that freaked out about it, like. Because this is a risk you're gonna have to take. You're gonna swim in somebody's piss. If you're this worried about, COVID or whatever, like,
probably shouldn't be here.
Well,
and I mean, and the reality is, it's like,
it's a risk,
Well, and the thing is, it's always been a risk. This is the thing. Like, someone sent me a message a long time ago.
We're at risk of a lot of things.
Yeah.
I mean, what about like we never talk about like hepatitis or anything like that?
Yeah.
Like, you don't know. Like,
you don't know.
Somebody could come in with AIDS and. It's a risk, but we're in here and we're doing it.
I mean, in on just the ones that happen regularly, right? You have ringworm, you got cellulitis, you got staph, you got injuries,
and just general flu,
communicable diseases, right? You got basic, like some guy comes in. This is probably going to be the best thing from COVID after it's all said and done. When people like go to the gym, they don't like, if they're sick, they're going to stay home, because guys would come in. I'm here. I'm ready to grind. It's like, go home. But again, it's just like, it's just I would just go to the gym. This is just me personally, because to me, it's like if the coach knows you're training with other people, they're probably going to be like, hey, you're not following our little 1-person rule, our pod rule. And that's that. But again, it's up to you. I would talk to your coach and let them know what you're doing.
Go across town.
And then try to get yourself some training. Just, again, Anyway, so yeah, moving on.
Do you want to do a couple predictions for the fight to win tonight?
Thoughts on
who's number one?
Thoughts on Gordon?
Or is that who's number one? There you go. Sorry, who's number one? Gordon's going against
Jimenez.
Yes, and then
Gordon.
Craig Jones. And
and then Craig Jones. What, dude? He's like Gordon's like 220 and Jimenez is like 190. I think.
Yeah, I mean Jimenez is tough though. I
He's
mean,
very good. Very
I mean, it's one of those things where like Gordon he's a monster. I mean, he's very, very good. You know, he's very strong and big and stuff, but he's also very skilled as a grappler. It just is what it is, you know. And so if Jimenez won, I wouldn't be like, oh my god, like, whoa. I mean, you know, they're all good grapplers, and anything can happen. But if you were just asking if I was going to have to put some money on it, I'd put my money on Gordon Ryan.
I'd say Gordon also is in his prime, I think, now, and I think
who knows?
Jimenez is still kind of like still young coming up. So
who knows what prime? Because I mean, like, you know, he's, you know, who knows? Like, some guys hit their prime in weird times, and you know, people say, oh, he's in his prime. It's like, and then the guy fights for like 6 more years, like dominantly. You're like, you know, so
I am interested to see what comes out of that gym they started in Puerto Rico, though. I mean, a lot of those guys are moving down there. You know, what kind of
same gym
monsters are they gonna?
It's gonna be the same
crank out?
Same thing.
Yeah, right.
Is it everybody? Did they all migrate down there? Or?
I think most of the big dudes, big names. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. From the hell out of New York.
Yeah, I mean, it's cool. And then
sorry, New York.
Jacob Couch is doing big things, man.
Excited to see Jacob.
Fun. I saw a little promo with him. I was like, that was pretty cool.
Yeah, it's cool.
He's doing good, man. I'm happy for that dude. He's just he's tough. He's fun. He's fun to watch too. Always aggressive. So good for him.
Let's see. We got a question from Azuna Hexa. Hey, my dudes. I need your opinion on ear guards for everyday rolling. I'm a little scared of cauliflower, and I thought about getting a pair. P.S. Thanks for the great content. Azuna, I don't know. If you want to get some of the kinds that are soft, like the soft ear guards, I'll tell you right now, it's an adjustment. Like I hated wearing them in wrestling because your head gets caught. You can't just pull it out anymore. And for me, I like my cauliflower ear. I'm glad I got it.
Eugene, you wore those for a while, didn't you?
A little bit,
what
yeah.
Do you think?
They're annoying. They're just annoying, man.
Do they move around? Do they stay put? Or?
Decent. They're decent. I mean, but they will move some. I mean, the softer ones, the ones I had were pretty good. I think I gave them to Evan. They're not bad. But again, it's headgear, dude. It gets in the way. Like if you get stuck in the choke, or if you're using. Like one thing is like I think if it makes you think twice about using your head because it's kind of rough still, and if you're using your head to push against people's faces or whatever, it's kind of I don't know. You feel kind of weird doing that, but I don't know. Like I just think.
Well, I mean, at the end of the day, it's going to be something, man. Like I don't want cauliflower either. I was never one of the guys to, like sit there with water bottles and try to, create my own cauliflower ear. Like I'm happy, knock on wood. My ears have maintained a certain form to them, but it's going to be something. Like me, it's arthritis. Like my fingers are all jacked up, my knees are bad. So, if you're worried about the cosmetic aspect of it, then you're going to look weird in 10 years. Like
we're all going to look weird.
We're all going to look weird. You're going to start sitting weird. Your shoulders are going to kind of roll over. You're going to be talking to your physical therapist buddy, like, what do I got to do to straighten out? But
stop doing jiu-jitsu.
Yeah, he knows. He's like, he knows this is a bad idea, but we're still.
No, dude, you can do it. It just depends on how you do it. It just depends on how many miles you got on your body.
I don't know.
And some people's bodies you can eke out if you change the oil.
Hopefully, I'm a well-kept Honda because I want to keep going, man.
Like if you do proper maintenance, you can squeeze out a lot more mileage out of your body. I'll check it anytime.
I might need some changing. You might check it.
You know what I mean? But like, it's like you can either break something down completely to where it's irreparable, let your body do its thing, and let it kind of recover.
Is there a point of no return? Like some people, like they find like your content or something so late on that it's like, I wish I had known,
if there's mechanical damage in your body that like I can't fix from the outside in, it can only be fixed by surgical interventions. I mean, we're looking at stem cells and stuff may be able to help regenerate or protect or strengthen some tissue, and that's not 100%. I think some people will respond well to it, some people may not. But also, when do you get that? If your tissue or if your rotator cuff is completely torn, I don't care how much stem cells you put in, it's not going to fix it. But if you got some small tears, it might help that heal up.
Well, I've often wondered about some of the stuff that used to bother me that doesn't anymore, and it's like, is this going to come back? Like there was a period of time where I really struggled with my shoulder, and it was like if I'd be in someone's closed guard and I'd like frame up, with like get the grip on the lapel. Mm-hmm. This was very weak, and if anybody kind of pulled me in, I felt like it just kind of gave, But I've strengthened it up over
Yep.
the years. Hopefully everything's fine. But like, what if I'm just like, I've compensated for some sort of permanent injury? I've never had an MRI or anything. So.
I don't even think it just depends on your function. I don't really care. Like if your function's good, like I'm not really worried about.
There's no any sort of weird compromise in there. Like, could I have a rotator cuff tear and
You
like
might,
everything falls
but
apart
your
one day?
No, it's not going to be like that. But
If there was a problem right there that you needed to worry about, you'd know.
you probably would.
Yeah.
It would just feel wrong and feel weird
Yeah.
to you.
Well, it did that's my thing. And for a long time, I was like, I should get this looked at. But then I guess I started doing some. I think you told me some strengthening exercises, and I did them, and they worked. So here I am.
Saved you some
but
money there.
if I ever just like quit working out, and then all of a sudden it's like your body catches up with you. Like, here's all your injuries that you've been hiding under, muscle tissue. So
Yeah, I think that you just have to listen to your body. Like if you don't,
my body screams at me, Eugene. It's angry with
listen
me.
to it, adjust
I don't
it.
like you, Adam.
But I'll tell you what, the one rule, it's not absolute, but the number one predictor of injury is previous injury. So if you've injured something in the past, you're more likely to injure. It doesn't mean you will, but it's more susceptible to injury. So what I'm saying is if you do the proper corrective
Well, of course
stuff,
it would be previous injury because it means you were injured. It's like saying like the number one predictor of.
but you could say, well, I have this kind of posture or these positioning of my knees that I'm just telling you. That's the thing. So, but that's not always. That can
You
sometimes.
don't ever give me a good outlook on life.
You can make that shoulder stronger than it's ever been, and it may be less likely to get
Hey, let me
injured.
ask you this question. Sometimes when you've given me exercises or if I've found something online and I'm trying to correct a problem or some sort of weakness, should I be like doing as much work on the opposite side? Because what if I get this really bulky arm, and it's like weird.
I don't think it's
looking?
like
Like that
bad
dude
idea.
from that M. Night Shyamalan movie
Yeah,
or whatever.
I don't know.
sometimes I'm like, I need to work this one out because this is the one that hurts, but I don't want this one to get weak.
I don't think it's a bad idea, honestly.
I work them both out whenever I do them.
Yeah.
And there's something about like working both sides. It helps like the contralateral side as well. There is some research.
I feel like this side needs to catch up though. You know what I'm saying? Like, so if
Contralateral.
I'm working this
That's
one out
opposite.
and it's already
Opposite
like
side, okay.
miles ahead,
See, that's so much simpler.
what is it
Damn terms.
with your medical
Opposite
terminology?
side.
Contralateral.
Contralateral.
All right. Anyways,
What else
questions? I got all kinds of words.
We got to work our contralateral side.
you got? Contralateral.
That means
sorry.
the opposite. Oh, the opposite side.
Sorry, your opposite side. So, but yes, there is some good research
He's so
behind
pissed.
He's
it.
trying to show us how smart he is.
He's so angry at me right now. He's like, look here, Chewy. I'm a medical professional.
This
I
is a
treat
room of
people.
learned
I am a
doctors.
doctor. I'm a doctor.
You're
Damn
really
it.
throwing that doctor thing around.
I don't
right
give
now.
it, dude. I don't care. I don't want
Yeah,
people
you
calling me
do.
doctor. I don't give a
You
shit.
sent me a birthday card and wrote
Doctor Eugene.
Dr. Eugene on it.
Doctor. Do you have like a couple?
All
What's your?
right.
Do you have letters at the end of your name?
Yes.
What is it?
DP.
DPT.
DPT.
DPT, double penetration, triple.
Doctor.
Whoa.
It says doctor of physical therapy.
Greetings and happy holidays from Dr. Eugene Tizozic.
So
DPT.
And
here's
then he
the
also
thing.
writes black belt underneath it.
Here's
too.
the thing.
First degree.
You're not supposed to write. If you write your name, you could write DPT, but you're not supposed to write doctor and then your name and then DPT because that's redundant.
Huh?
Because it says Dr. Eugene Sozik, Doctor of Physical Therapy.
Yeah.
So I would just write my name.
Hey
DPT.
man,
That's you.
But if you try to like flex on people,
Yeah,
I don't
you
care.
gotta-
Why?
You got to
What am I flexing
reiterate
on?
how
Huh?
smart you
because
are.
you just flexed on us.
I didn't flex shit.
You could have said opposite, but you said contralateral.
I just spoke
You
out of my
did.
brain. It's what
Nobody
came
talks
to me.
like that.
Sometimes I talk like that
Do you?
because I want to make you
Like
feel
at home,
dumb,
do you,
Adam.
do you talk like that to your wife?
He's
like,
speaking-
My wife is smart.
like not that one, the one.
Oh, did
dang.
you see this? He's like,
So when you're like, can you pass me the contralateral side salt shaker, please? Not that one. The one contralateral to the one that you just reached for.
we're sitting with Eugene. I was sitting with peons.
Yeah,
Why are you two so stupid?
smart.
No, actually, it's funny. Like someone like you, Chewy, that's like a tinkerer, likes to like learn stuff. Like you figure a lot of this stuff out on your own.
Sure.
You just put the time in. So a lot of people don't want to put the time in. They're like, oh, my arm's hurting. I'm just gonna keep training until it falls off and I can't move it at all.
Yeah, that-
But a lot of people will go do the research and they'll try to figure it out because you can learn a lot. You can almost.
Well,
it's
bro,
almost-
you
it's almost-
have the internet.
Yes.
Literally, like,
learn anything. I learned how to do this shit.
You can learn anything on the internet. It's like all you got to do is have the questions. That's all it is. It's like you ask the right questions, you'll learn the information. It's the craziest thing. It's like no one has an excuse to say I don't know how to do X because it's like it's there.
It's whether you can filter through all the shit.
Right, that's why you
filter
have to
through all
have the
the muck
questions.
and figure
Yes.
out like what is relevant, what is not, and what is good information, what is not.
You know what's amazing though when you think about it in terms of the internet? It's a testament to the people's willingness to, or desire rather, to teach. Like all this information exists, and it's great that it's on the internet for our use. But like think about like these people are like, I know all that, but I'm not going to make videos. It's a lot of work putting these videos out there. I mean, the stuff you've done, and like you said, you've learned how to do all this like YouTube stuff. Like, what if these people who do the YouTube things are like, nah, I'm not going to put a video up about that. It takes too long. But it's everyone's willingness to like share this information is really kind of amazing when you think about it.
Yeah, I mean that's where it comes. It's just if you're willing to put the time in, like.
Yeah.
I mean, but again, like what Chewy does. Not everybody can do that, obviously, but like.
But you have a desire to teach. It's
Yeah, I mean, yeah, you've had, and you have a way with like. I think the interesting thing about what you do is your storytelling, which I think you have a really great skill at storytelling. Even if you're like rehashing like the history of whatever or about Romans. Fun, right? That's fun.
Is that how you're going to speak to me, doctor?
No.
playing things right
The
now.
history of daylight savings time, Chewy.
That again. Yeah.
We've talked about this numerous times. He's not buying it.
We're almost done with it.
Yeah. So, but yeah, like that kind of stuff. I mean, you have a great way to tell stories.
Last question, because then
do
I'll
it.
have to go get some sushi.
Let's do
Hang
it.
out with Nate.
Nasty Nate.
Let's see here. So the last question that will answer, they say that Jay thought that Adam would sound like Gilbert Gottfried. First time he's heard your voice. I'm glad he doesn't sound like Gilbert Gottfried.
Did you ever see the 50 Shades of Grey like audiobook as read by Gilbert Gottfried?
No.
Oh, it's awesome. You gotta
I'll
watch
have to look that one up.
He kissed her sensually.
Let's see here.
Let's see. Yeah, I don't know if we have a ton of stuff. In the meantime,
Azuna Hexa asked a question about strokes and stuff. We actually talked about it on a podcast. There's a podcast that we did just recently. It's on the channel.
episode 142 with Chris Martin.
Yeah, we talk about strokes. He had one. And again, there's so much to it. It's not as simple as just saying it's a choke this way or that way. As he was talking about in the podcast, you can create like issues with your neck from from turning your head really fast.
Yeah.
So it's just one of those things where I wouldn't be so much worried about it. I mean, I think it's more of you need to be something where you need to be aware. If you get caught in a choke, tap, and then just know the symptoms, so that this way, if something does happen, you can be prepared either for yourself or for someone else. And again, if you want to check that out, you can go to the podcast that we did before. Last one, Andrew Anglo Bear Odell says, "Hey Chewy, I recently decided to change gyms after repetitive injuries from partners. Should I try to settle into one new gym or float around and find a place I like?" I would find a place that you like, and then once you find that place, stay there. Again, not to say that you can't train elsewhere, but I think there's something, there's important about, having a relationship with your training partners and coach where, that's your home. And so I think I would start with that first. But if there's multiple gyms in your area, check them out, see which one kind of gives you a good vibe that you like, and then, stick around and grow your roots there.
Awesome. Guys, thank you all so much. Adam, thank you for joining us, your first guest in here, and congrats on your first degree, sir.
Thank you, sir. Congrats on your
Thank you.
belt promotion,
I'm
black
honored.
belt.
I'm honored. Thank you, Chewy.
No problem, doctor. Good to see you.
Doctor says
guys, just
Glad you can hang out
real
with me and
quick.
Peon.
Thanks to our sponsor, Charlotte's Web. Visit them at charlottesweb.com. Get some good CBD. Use promo code Jiu-Jitsu, 15% off. Epic Roll. Get a hat that Chewy can't wear for 15% off. EpicRollBJJ.com.
Yeah, and then the last one, guys, is you can go to Manscaped.com and you can get a pair of trimmers where you can literally trim like one side of your body, then you go to the contralateral side and you can trim that side. I was trying to use it. And
that was good.
And you can go to their website and use the promo code Jiu-Jitsu20, save 20% off, and get free shipping to shave all that contralateral hair that's growing.
I'm glad you learned a new word today, Chewy.
I know. I just,
it's like you learned the word poop. You're like, oh, poop.
No,
you just say it a lot.
I like words that are like, because I know it's like with medical people, they have these words that like it could be like we could dumb this way down. It's like I've heard jiu-jitsu coaches.
Slipped.
Like
Slipped
I remember
out.
I was like at a class one time. This jiu-jitsu coach, he said, "Guys, we're going to like," and basically he meant push, just push the damn leg. He's like, "Guys, we're gonna promote the legs to the left." I'm like, "Promote? What do you mean promote the legs to the left? Push the damn legs." Like we don't have to overcomplicate this stuff. It's like, okay, guys, now we're gonna, and there's like these overcomplicated terms. I'm like, look, man, I get it. Like you're flexing your lexicon. You're a doctor. That's just how your head thinks. Like that's not whatever. But like sometimes it's like, you know, people like overdo it. I'm like, look, man, just let's keep this simple. I was like, not all of us are working with a full set of crayons.
Well, that's actually a point I try to make. Like I try not to use like there's no reason to use that kind of terminology, like because it can confuse people. Honestly, and just because. So you try to kind of say things in quote unquote layman's terms that people can understand. So sometimes I say things using big words. Sorry, I won't use big words around Chewy anymore.
It definitely like ups the street cred.
I
Like,
will
hey, this guy
not use
knows
big
what's
words
up.
anymore.
All right,
He's using
guys,
big words.
have a good
Thank
one.
you guys. Take care. What'd you write? Right there. I can't see what it is. Contralateral. You spelled it correctly. Good
I
job,
can
guys.
spell.
See you guys next time.
Are those all your words that you learn from this conversation?